All right, we've come back live on YouTube. Hopefully they get my notifications, and I'm going to get a light because this sucks. I don't even know what light to get. Okay. This one's on. Sploosh. Oh crap. This isn't gonna work. I have to make it work. There we go. There we go, good people. So much better. So much better. What do you think? So much better. I look almost orange. So much better. All right, let's get rid of these things. So much better. All right, so let me know if you guys are back. I know I'm going to be checking the stream to make sure I'm back in here. What do we have here? I got a couple comments on here. Oh yeah, I can see a couple comments on here. So you guys, you can post here, and I'll see your comments. All right, we got that going, and I'm gonna try something else we haven't done before, and that's go live. And then we'll go live on Instagram. So yo, what's up, Carolina Max? I'm glad you're here, bro. So you guys, and I'm streaming over on Instagram as well. So if you guys, catch me over there, I'm streaming on Instagram. If you guys are on Instagram, go over to YouTube, where I want to talk to the men, fellas who are dealing with their relationships, who are standing husbands, who may have had relationship problems, and they just they want to talk and get things off their chest. Maybe they've got some information they want to impart to other men who are on the show. Either way, the ladies can definitely come in and are encouraged to come in, but I think it's important to hear the men. So with that being said, let me hide this. With that being said, I'm going to put the invite in. Copy to the clipboard. Copy, and I'm going to paste it in the chat. So there it is. Shera, you made it back. I'm so glad you made it, Shera. Thank you. For y'all who came over, y'all are real. This is the crew right here. This is the crew right here. These are the people that came over. Y'all followed me. It means the world. It really does. So anyway, here's the link to the chat. So if you guys, Carolina, I see you were definitely talking, spending some time with the ladies. Hit us up, bro. Come into the chat. Or come up to the show, and let's just really hear things from your side, what you've been dealing with, and then some information that you want to. Manuel, I know you're over there, but Manuel, come over to YouTube. You're another father, you're another dad, you're another standing husband. I wanted to get you into the mix. I know how things have been between you and yours, but we need you. You're needed over here, Manuel. You're needed over here, bro. So I'm gonna tell you right now, come to YouTube, find my channel, and I'm gonna put a post in. I've got a link in the chat. I've got a link in the chat. I want you to click the link in the chat and join. Come over here and tell everybody else you know. Come over here and click the link in the chat so we can talk. So, yeah, so we can see more of that. So we can see more of you, bro, because I know you got a lot of information. So with that, Carolina, let me know if you let me remove this music. All right, good. So Carolina, if you're there, bro, definitely hit that link. And I'm saying we just want to hear what you have to say regarding like the things that you learn, things that men are going through, and just what you know, what has been the process for you. I mean, 2020 is coming to a close, but I still feel like there's more in store for us. So anyway, let me try to, Brother James. Okay, I can see your picture up, and I'm gonna add you into the stream, you guys. So hold on.
All right.
Brother James. Okay, I can see your picture up, and I'm gonna. Sure. All right, James, can you speak up? Can you say something? I want to hear you.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
I can't hear a thing. Is my volume up? Let me make sure my volume's up. My bad, y'all.
The levels is good. The levels is good.
Headphones is working through the juke. Okay. All right.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go, James. How you doing, bud? I'm surprised y'all heard me. My bad. My setup is it's a little janky, but it's a little janky. Alexis is here. Hey, Alexis. Thank you. Welcome back, man. You are, hey, bro. I'm here. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Nah, you're actually coming through loud and clear, man.
Okay, that's good, real good. Thank you. So yeah, this is just a chance for other people to not hear me, you know, like all day long. We want to hear from someone else, just what it is that you've learned, things that you've experienced. Just basically, I just want to hear about you and your situation and how you've handled it.
Yeah.
Just start. You know what? It's up. It's just you. We'll start pretty much from wherever you want, as far as what pertains to tonight's topics.
Well, specifically, speaking on tonight's topic, it was definitely as I sat there and I listened to you speak, the only thing that I heard in my spirit was pride and ego. Pride and ego is one of the reasons why me and my wife came to a halt. My wife kept on asking me, why did it take so long for me to change? Why did it take so long? And when she first asked me this, I wasn't really aware of what she was speaking about. So I'm like, what do you mean? Why does it matter what took so long? So then the Lord gave me an illustration of two planes in a holding pattern, waiting to land, but nobody wants to be the first one to break the pattern. So one day, God literally said, this is the best thing to do. So that's when the separation really took place. And instead of standing there, you know, operating in my pride and my ego, like, you know what, my way is the right way, and I ain't gotta change my perspective, and I don't have to try to see it from your point of view and what you thinking, and I know that I'm right because of this, that, and the third. I just gave up the ghost and said, you know what, one of us has to lay down our ego and lay down our pride and allow the Lord to come in and do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And that's how we really pretty much got here, even though I didn't know what here was.
Understood, most definitely. So you got to a point of wanting to reconcile first. All right. So what did it take to, I mean, you said you heard the voice of the word of God, and he moved you to making the first move.
What it really took was I was already in school for behavioral health. And as I was entering into like my fourth semester, I started to really look at my macro system and my echo system. So as I started to learn about, as I started to really have to look back at the way that I was brought up and I was raised, I realized that some of the things I was taught was BS. And it was really from a personal perspective of their account of their
Yeah,
life. It
yeah,
wasn't facts. But I believed it to be solid rock, to be, if this person told me this has got to be true, this is the way you do it, this is the way it's got to be done. And then when I finally started to get educated on my own upbringing, it
mhm,
made sense about why my marriage wasn't working, because it was off of society's way, our personalized experiences of people who felt this worked good for them. So I'm going to demonstrate this and be the example to you. Yeah, this is what a man's supposed to do. And if she don't do this, then you don't do that. I'm like, hold up. I really adapted this into my spirit, into my bone marrow. And it was killing my marriage.
yeah. How did your wife respond when you decided to kind of cast away some of that? I don't want to say negative, but just very untrue and unproven upbringing. How did she respond?
Scared. She's still scared. She don't believe that change can happen that fast. This is where the part of suddenly's miracle, God.
Mhm,
When it makes sense, it makes sense. I never was the type to beat a dead horse. Once the jig was up, it was up. I always been that type of person.
mhm.
That was always my personality. Like, even since I was a little kid, once I was in trouble, I was ready to get straight to the punishment, because I knew the sooner I get to it, the sooner it'd be over with. So once I realized that the jig was up and there was no need to continue on in this straight line pattern that I had been in, I automatically went into God mode. I always knew God, and I always had a personal, well, let me reinstate that. I always knew Jesus.
Mhm.
This journey has taught me who the Father is, like, who is my Father. I know who Jesus is as my Lord and personal Savior. Yeah, I got baptized. I believe you rose again for me and you died for my sins. But this journey, when I got to know God, I'm like, hold
Mhm.
up, this ain't Jesus. This ain't, this is different. This is the one who made Jesus. This is the one who ordained everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, can I go a little deeper with you?
Yeah.
Can I go a little deeper? Suddenlies scare our spouses,
Mm.
especially from the male's perspective. It scares them.
Hmm.
Would you say that even your wife was used to the upbringing that you had casted away, that even she kind of believed that?
Yeah, I would say that my wife was not only used to it, but I also had to look at her dynamic of how she grew up. The closest thing to I guess you could say, ideal marriage was her grandparents.
Okay.
She spoke very fondly of her grandfather, who passed away when she was younger, but they had a very close relationship. And
Hmm.
that was her example of what a good husband would be, could be, should be. Everyone else in her family that had any type of marriage was very dysfunctional and toxic. So there was never a solid foundation of what a real marriage was, just an example and a tidbit of what a marriage could be.
Hmm.
So when we began to have our marriage, she was always the type to survivor mode. Like, I've been a survivor. She uses pain as a conduit, as a motivation, and she doesn't know how to take, like, just like, basically, my wife is the type of person that needs some type of drama, something to propel her to her next great height or her next great feat.
Hmm.
That's how she's always functioned, because people in her family even spoke against her. That's where the generational curses come in, that of, well, your mama didn't never do this, so you ain't never go do this. So I'm a prove it type person. I gotta prove you wrong. I gotta show you.
Yeah, man. I heard all about. I know all about that. It kind of activates the husband. Like, we want to do something for our wife so that they don't have to
Hmm.
deal with that ever again. We want to protect them from that.
Hmm.
And sometimes that message gets a little gets a little messy. You know, the transition of that message to our wives, it gets a little messy because they want to, certain women, you know, especially in our community, they really are trying to get through a certain type of traumatic experience. They're trying to get
Mm-hmm.
through a certain wall. And in a lot of ways, husbands represent that discipline. We represent that, you know, that structure that kind of reminds them of, oh man, I was on my way out and now I got to get back in place, you know, and I don't like
Mm-hmm.
that. And so, you know, they kind of strike out against, you know, we tend to have wives that strike out against us. And, you know, that's because we're in close proximity. But we're in close proximity
Oh yeah.
simply because I believe the presence of a man that is our love. If a man is there, he's
Mm-hmm.
there because he loves you. You
Definitely.
know, we could have walked, and yes, we could have looked like cowards, and we could have given up because that's the easy way out. But we're in here, and we're sticking with you. Was there anybody in your personal life that you take good qualities from? The qualities you carry with you now?
Mm.
Who was in your life? I know we have got the father,
Yeah.
but who was in your life physically?
Well, physically, who was in my life? Well, I I guess you could say a much different trajectory path growing up. Um, my mom and dad was married, so I couldn't understand when I was a kid why I couldn't have certain things that my other family members had until I got maybe like 13, and I realized the reason I didn't have as much as they had was because being in a two-parent household, you don't qualify for food stamps or anything of that nature because both of your parents work, so they bring in too much money. I
Mhm.
thought that was a curse. I thought that was a bad thing. Like, yo, man, I want the Jordans. I want to have the nicest stuff too. Why my cousin? I was used to getting my cousin them hand me down stuff, this, that, and the third. But to me, it was golden. My
Mhm.
wife was the opposite. Her mom was always prefixed on making her children look good because her children were a representation of herself. So the
Okay.
things that she did for my wife and her siblings wasn't because it was from a nurturing, caring mother perspective. It was because if you look bad, I gotta hear about it, and I'm worried about my image. So
Mhm.
this was embedded into my wife's DNA where materialistic things make her thrive and make her go. And at first I couldn't understand it because I was a type like, as long as I got people in my house that love me, it don't matter what we got in the cabinet, we gonna make it seem like a 5-course meal and we gonna be happy
Mhm.
and content because we here and we're alive. And my wife like, no, we need more. So she just go out there and just grind her gears until it's all the way down to the rotors and still try to keep going. So it created friction and tension because I didn't realize at the time we were having a conflict of our moral upbringing
Mhm.
and what ethically made us into the individuals we were before we became one soul, one body, one mind.
Right on. Okay. So yeah, it takes a, and it's a continuous thing. It's not a, you know, it's not a one and done thing. I happen to know this is
Yeah.
just, it takes continuous conversation. So how are you guys today? Like what's going on today?
As of today, my wife is still in shock. I know that she wants to have us back and everything because like I said, it's my wife. I know her, I know you. But she is very standoffish and skeptical. I don't believe people can change like this. Like I said, I come from a very religious background. My
Mhm.
Uncle David and my Aunt Ava are my two main sources of religious couples.
Mhm.
Like they always ensured that we did vacation Bible schools. We don't got the money. They will put the money up for us to be able to go to the certain retreats that the churches had, and they kept us activated in it. So I got to see Christian love on a whole nother level. So I done seen some things where I know how faith is activated, where my wife doesn't, she has faith, but when faith takes too long, she has gifts and skills. So
Mhm.
she relies more on her gifts and skill because she's a hairstylist. and she has other things that's underneath her belt, but her hairstyling is her ability to say, well, I ain't got to worry about my family not having this and not having that, and I ain't got to worry about waiting. But it's in the way that we create our faith and our bond gets closer and stronger with God. And
Right.
when you cut that off, you don't get to experience God on another level and allow him to bring you into glory to glory, as they say in the Bible. And you be able to say, I could stand on the rock because I could look back at the other experiences where God brought me to and brought me through. And even though it looked crazy, I walked on water.
Right on. And they look crazy. And we use what we have. And your wife, like you said,
Hmm.
you can see the light in her. You see her
Hmm.
creativity. Hey, listen, this is God talking right through you, doing things here on this planet. Even if you can't see it, I can see it.
Hmm.
And you know, again, that there's that, you know, agape love. You know, it's just I can see it, and I'm gonna tell you what I see, so that you do have some type of worth. I had to bring that up to my wife because my wife works really hard. Like I know she does. She works really hard, and she wants to, even though I tell her she doesn't have to, but she wants to. But she works really hard. But for a long time, she was always wondering what she doing was enough. Was it good enough? Was it good enough? Was it good enough? Because she come from a family that literally does not give
Hmm.
compliments. They don't do that. They
Don't
just
know
don't give
how.
love. And they don't know how. And so, hold on. So when I literally pull her to the side and I ask her, and I'm gonna ask you the same thing. What did you want to do? What lesson were you attempting to teach? What what dream did you want to see become a reality in your marriage? What did you want the other person to experience?
What I really want my wife to experience is full out trust. The reason why we are in a tug of war is because she does have trust issues. You know, just being with her and understanding her background and her life and the things that she had to do. My wife had her first child when she was 13, going on 14. So ever since then, she's been a sole survivor. She was put in a situation where they basically told her, if you don't go to this mother daughter group home, we're going to take your child. And as a 13, 14-year old, you expect your mom to be your lawyer, your protector, your everything, or at least your father, or
Yeah.
somebody in your family becomes your security or your fighter or the person that steps up to the plate for you. By that time, her grandfather, who probably would have did that, had passed away. So
Yeah.
nobody else stepped up into that role that was trustworthy as an adult. And that's something that always stuck with her. I always had to make these sacrifices for me and my daughter and nobody else. When she says these things, it's a mask up of pain and hurt because she wants her mom to acknowledge what she's done. But I always had to tell my wife, some people are not capable of looking at their own demons or pulling out their own skeletons and saying, I really did this to this person. And if you continue to walk around saying, I don't want to heal until they tell me this, you'll never heal if you wait on somebody else to give you your healing. You will never
Yeah.
get over it. You will never have your peace that you want to have because some sorries or apologies will never come. So
It's
that
true.
trust, that's really was the dream, which is, as you know, being a married couple.
Mm.
One thing my wife always said was, well, if you're not following God, I don't have to follow you. So when she
That's
used to say this to me,
crazy.
so so when she used to say this to me, of course, me being the man that I am, you know, I'm a don't tell you, I'm a show you type of person. So now when there's certain issues that we have, I'm going in the Bible and I'm looking up these issues and I'm showing my wife in the Bible what thus says the Lord. She even but that as you trying to control me with the Bible. You not trying to show me that this is not your word, this is the Lord's word. You trying to control me with the Bible to make me act in the desired manner that you want me to act in using religion. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, what?
Yeah, yeah. I got no words for that. It's just I'm gonna duck that one. I'm gonna duck that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And let that fly by. All right. Well, listen, brother James, this has been awesome asking you these questions, and I'm glad you came up on here. You know, you definitely showed the leadership, the qualities, the skill. You know, I'm creating a couple, you know, little acronyms I want to create for the channel for certain types of men.
Hmm.
Um, qualities of a good husband. If you could just give me 3 words, 3 qualities of a good husband, of a standing husband, a leader of his family, what 3 quality words could you come up with? I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay, 3 quality words that I could come up with. One is accountability. Be accountable. Um, the second word is good listener.
Yeah.
And the third word is compassionate.
Wow. And why
You
compassionate?
gotta
Why?
the reason why I said compassionate is because
Mhm.
you have to be able to love your wife beyond what you see and beyond what you think you
Ah,
know about her. You got
yes.
to. If you don't love her beyond what you see and beyond what you think you know about her, you will shortchange her and not give her the full glory of what it truly means when it says, husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church.
Mhm.
We'll shortchange our wives because we only have but so much capacity. It's because of compassion that Jesus still chose to walk that road to Calvary and hold that cross and take all of the things that he took, even though he had the power to snap one finger and it would
Mhm.
have all been over with. And it could have just been like, all right, look, Lord, they're going to have to fend for themselves. They're going to have to figure it out. Because sometimes as a man, that's how we get. We get so frustrated. We do say, figure it out. You do it for yourself. You don't appreciate me. We have to take the time to appreciate ourselves and understand who we are, because appreciation is not through how our wives receive us or what they give us back, but
Mhm.
our role in understanding in our vows. Where do we stand at with God? What do God say? How do God feel about our sacrifices and the things that we do when it proceeds to his daughter? Because that's his daughter, literally. We're his son, that's his daughter. So it's not, we can't just shortchange her and say, well, nah, she didn't acknowledge that I opened the door for her, so I'm gonna just stop opening the door for her. She didn't
Yeah.
acknowledge that I made breakfast for her the last 6 years, so I'm gonna stop making breakfast for her. No, that's where the compassion got to come in at, because compassion brings in patience. Because I was stubborn. I was a hard nut to crack. Being in this position right here, if I can be honest, to come to the reality that my wife could possibly be with another man sexually, physically, mentally, emotionally, I had to take myself to a whole nother level and think about all the times that I was out here messing around on other females and they took me back umpteen times. And I never even thought about how they felt for real,
Mhm.
until I got in this position. And I said, oh my God, I was really a piece of work. And to have a heart to take someone back after they've been with another human being on this earth and you know how you feel about them, infatually in love with them, it does take compassion, because you have to look beyond that fault and beyond that. You can't carry that around in a backpack like, well, when she make me mad again, I'm gonna pour this out. Remember when you was, no, we're not giving the devil no footholds to build no strongholds.
Right on, bro. That's crazy. It's beautiful. So I wanted to ask if there was anybody. Well, I still got you here. I wanted to see if anybody in the chat wanted to ask Brother James any questions, any men or women. If they wanted to ask the brother a question, you can go ahead and post it in the chat. If you guys don't, we'll give them like, I'll give you guys like 15 seconds if you guys want to ask them any questions, and we're counting that down. So again, this has just been good. It's been a good word to hear from somebody else as far as what you've been through and what you've learned. And we're parting this to other men, because even though there's no one
Mhm.
here, like there are a lot of people here to the live stream, there will be people who will come and they will see this, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing over here.
Mhm.
So, it's good to get the ball rolling, get things started. Um, Again, Brother James, I'm going to say thank you for being here. And
Yeah.
you know what? If you're going to listen
Stay vulnerable. Stay
in,
vulnerable, man.
yeah.
Stay vulnerable. That's what I can tell all the men that come here, is stay vulnerable, man, because it do get hard. And when you are being vulnerable and opening your heart and everything, it makes you retreat and draw back and put up walls. But moving forward, if you continue to be vulnerable, that's when you'll get to a true release of allowing God to lead you, guide you, and direct you, and you'll start to see that blossom into your
Mhm.
marriage, into your relationships, because God can work when in your vulnerability. That's when you are the weakest as a man. What? I got my whole backside open and I ain't even looking back.
Yeah.
I'm very open. Lord, I need you. I'm calling on you way more now because I don't have my armor on. I don't
Right.
have that defense up.
Mhm. So listen, we got us a quick question, and right at the 15-second mark over there, Shera. So shout out to you. I'm gonna post it here on the page. It says, "Wow, yes, you really do grow from an experience like that. What made you make the change not to cheat anymore?" And I know you already answered this question,
Hmm.
but you just answer for our
Oh
sister
no,
right
I got you.
here.
What made me grow to the point of not wanting to cheat no more? Because once I really got it, I never was a cheater. I never was a cheater. That was never something that I liked to do and I wanted to do. As I sat in isolation and I thought about it, I put on things to adapt to certain groups and environments that I was in to seem cool, to seem like I was down, to seem like, yeah, I fit in. But in reality, I never liked it, cheating or having multiple women. It was just something that I picked up along the way. And
Mhm.
as I sat here in isolation and God started to really address my issue and talk to me, he basically allowed me to see that I didn't need to have that piece of armor no more because it was never a part of me. It's not my original self. I had to really get into the word of God and see who I was in God's eyes and the type of man I was. And when it started to line up with who I already thought I was, and I was like, hey, you're right, Lord. I don't need that. I'm a king.
Mhm.
This concubine, that concubine, my wife was everything that I needed and then some. It was just when I was in that position, I felt like a dark cloud was over me. And when I did cheat on my wife, the other woman presented herself to be everything that my wife wasn't being. But it was a falsified hood because even when I was with the other woman, it never felt real. It just felt like a temporal satisfaction, but never nothing that was whole because I couldn't even enjoy it because the whole time I'm thinking about my wife and how I want to be doing this with my wife. I want to be rubbing my wife feet. I want to be talking to her. I want to be doing. I don't want to be here with you, woman. Why am I here? And after a while, I couldn't be there no more because God just put this I guess you could say hedge or a void there where it was like, you know what? I had to tell this other woman like, I like you. I said I love you, but it wasn't really love. It's infatuation. But I care more about your eternal soul and where your eternal soul go. Well, I can never be the man you want me to be. And I didn't want her to keep walking around trying to find a man that was like me because that's one thing that I learned through getting closer to God too. I'm a one-on-one. You're a one-on-one. Your husband is a one-on-one. And you have to treat him as a one-on-one, even when he's not being his one-on-one self. So even though he wants to sell drugs and be on the corner and do this and do that, show him that money and whatever his motive is for being out there is not needed because he's enough. And his presence in the house with you and the kids is enough. We don't care about the money or the bills. God will provide. When you care more about the money, you're not trusting God. When you care more about how we go do this, you're not trusting God. Cast your burdens at my feet. My yoke is light. Here, give it to me. Give it to me. We want to control things. We can't. We can't.
Yep, we can't. So let's see what Sister Shara says. Wow, yes, you really do grow from an experience like that. Yeah. We're already at that one. My bad. Let me go down
Mhm.
here. Okay, what she says. Yes. Okay. Wow, it's amazing how even with the other woman, you thought about your wife. That's
Oh
very.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Listen, I'm part of
Oh
that number.
yeah.
I'm part of that
Mhm.
number too. And when my wife asked me those same questions, like, what did those women have over me? Be quite honest, nothing.
Nothing.
They literally had nothing
Nothing.
over you.
A presence at the
Yeah,
time. That's it.
they have nothing.
Trust me. Trust me. He is not. He seems like he's enjoying it and he's having a good time if he is with another woman, but guess what? He's not. He's running from his demons. He's running from having to really look at himself and admit, I am a piece of work. I have things about me that's toxic. Once you admit that you have things about you that are toxic, and are not acceptable, then you can no longer function and operate in that behavior, because truth will always set you free. And some people try to avoid the truth so they can continue to be nasty, ignorant, and intolerable, because they know once they recognize this is how I am, that's not how you are. That's how you portray yourself to be, so you don't have to address what's your real issue. But we're not going to do that here. We're going to be adults, and we're going to mature, and we're going to address our issues and not have no temper tantrum, because we want to be better individuals and have great relationships.
All right. Oh, I hear you got the YouTube in the background. It's all good though. But yeah, there you go. I mean, it don't it's a complicated situation, but the reasons that these things go down, it's not that complicated. It's not too
Mhm.
hard. You really do lose a lot of mental energy trying to
Yeah,
figure out what your spouse is up to, what they're thinking. And
yeah. Don't
just
do it.
as is, yep. Don't do it. You
Don't
will
do
waste
it.
time. And most of the time
And yeah,
you're not gonna hit the nail on the head. You're just gonna be constantly whacking for
yeah.
that nail, but you ain't gonna hit it, and that's what drives us insane. So, Sister Shera, I
Do
hope
you
that
know your spouse? Do you know your spouse? See,
yeah.
you have to know your spouse. You understand what I'm saying? Your spouse ain't really show that other woman who he really is. He just giving her a piece of him. He wants to really be himself. Guess who he can be that with? You, sister. You, and you only. You loving flaws and all. Morning breath, teeth brush, not brush. He go get tired of having to portray being a certain way around this person, and that's going to make him say, you know what? I'd rather be at home with my wife. I'd rather be at home with my lady. It's just the only thing that keeps you out there is what is going to be received of me when I come back. Am I going to have to keep hearing about this? Am I going to have to, you know, have this over my head like mistletoe every time you get in your feelings, or you start this, you start that? It's okay to address your feelings because they're valid, but you have to create an atmosphere where you guys are able to talk about it, address it, and then start to heal from it. Not just talk about it as a point of emphasis or it keeps me in control and it'll keep you here. No, we have to talk about it to get to healing, to get to deliverance, to get to that place where we are back whole again. Because this did happen, and we're not going to mask it up and put it away in the closet, because we might go 3 years without no problem. And then that problem that we thought we put away and mask away, it pops up. It's in our foundation. And now we back on skid row again. I don't want that. So when you were speaking about that earlier, about how, you and your wife, I went to see the lawyer, my wife went to see the lawyer. That's why I was at where I was at. Like, okay, I like that point of view, because that's what I've been thinking about this whole time. God can do whatever he want to do. He can make this thing happen right now, and your spouse can come back and y'all be where you at. But the question is, do you want a forever thing, or do you want just a temporary relief from the pain you're going through now?
Good question. So I got another one. Sister Alexis hit us up in the chat. I know we said that was the last one, but it's all good. As long as they're asking questions, I'm here. I know you're here and I'm here. So let's
Yeah.
ask. She said, what could be the best thing I can do to support my husband as a standing wife and not being in a position of being taken advantage of? So you following what she's asking?
So as a standing wife and being able to support your husband without being taken advantage of, is, it's like I said before, you know your husband. You really know your husband. What are some areas with your husband that you have not been very supportive of him, that made him feel some type of way, or not feel masculine or in control like he wants to be? Those are the areas that you support him in. If it's something that you know that is just game and he's running that on you, that's when you know, okay, he's just taking advantage of me, and you have to flip a coin and decide whether you want to support that or not. And if you decide not to, stand strong on your convictions. Stand strong on your convictions. The reason why we're having issues in our marriages is because we've been so comfortable in our marriages that the boundaries that we originally had when we started our relationships have faded and disappeared. And we are coming and going in the areas that normally We had respected and we waited for you to give us entry, and now we just walking all up in your situation, and we ain't knocking or nothing. We ain't seeing if you decent or none of that. We just, all right, man, whatever. Look, I'm in here. Reestablish those boundaries and don't be afraid to do that. That's the woman that he loved. That's the woman that he fell in love with. And you can be that. You can be that. You still got it. You still got it.
All right. So, all right. I got one more because I got my brother Manuel up here as well. So these are good questions, man. So it sounds like, if you're his wife, at one point you was his friend. Be that man's friend. Learn where the moves that you can make, the things that you say and the things that you do, these have the most impact on that man. And you have direct access to those things. This other woman had to work for that stuff. She don't know what's going on. And other people got to work for it, but you have the access. You have the keys to this man's heart and his soul. Just work that angle. All right. Sister Lori is on here, says, what if he doesn't want to talk to you? A man that doesn't want to talk to his wife. That seemed too bad, but I'll let you go ahead and handle that one.
If he doesn't want to talk to you, guess what? You're in a great position. It's not you that he don't want to talk to. It's himself he don't want to talk to. Because talking to you makes him have to really evaluate him. It makes him have to really think about the things that he doing and why he doing those things. I know it's hard when you can't speak with the person that you love and you care about, but in reality, you get the opportunity to work fully on you and to make any adjustments and changes that you feel as though you want to make. This is when you can completely say, Lord, you got it. You can do things that I can't do. You see things that I can't see. And you just put him in the Lord's hands and let God have him. It's easier said than done because I'm currently in that situation now. When my wife wants to speak with me, she do. And when she don't, crickets. That's fine. I'm not worried about that. When it gets silent, that's just more time for me to continue to work on improving myself and working to get a deeper and closer relationship with the Lord. Because when you do start speaking to your husband, when you do get to be around him more, you're going to have to maintain your composure and keep this new sense of who you are, because he's going to test to see if you're really changed. He's going to test to see if you really are calm, cool, collected, like you seem to be and like you looking like you want to be. It's like Sister Shera said, like, they be skeptical. They're so skeptical that they got to make sure that the wound is really closed up. So they poke and pry at it to see if the surgeon really did a good job and stitched it up. Like, hold up, let me make sure that really is what it looked like and not just a facade to get me back in their good graces. And then wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Here come Michael Myers again. No, this is the real deal. This is really what you get is what you see.
All right. All right. So let me see.
Yeah.
Roya says, are you in my life? She feel like she know you. Okay. But I got to drop Brother James down because I got Brother Manuel I want to bring up to the stream, you guys. And ladies, it's good hearing that you guys have some questions that you want to ask different brothers on the line. And you guys get to hear this. These men are, they're married or once married or fighting for their marriage. You get to hear from the other side. Like there's more to us than what you're seeing in your own world. There's more to us. But there you go. Thanks for the confirmation. All right, Brother James. Thank you for joining up here, bro.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time.
All right. So there you go, you guys. I'm gonna bring up Brother Manuel. He's been holding on for a little while. So let me bring him up in here. Brother Manuel, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Yeah, man, we're doing real good, man. So I finally got you on the stream. Thanks for coming from over on Instagram. Wasn't too much going on over there. So I was like, all right, let me tell everybody to come on over here. And tonight's podcast, like I said, I wanted to concentrate more on what it is for the men. What are you guys dealing with? What are we dealing with? And it's good for our sisters to hear it because they're going through some things too. And maybe where they aren't really getting a lot of support. They're not getting a lot of feedback. But and some of them just don't know what it's like on the other side. And I feel like that's why I brought the men up here. And I want to continue doing this as the podcast goes. So if you want to start telling your own story or your own testimony, your own situation, it is, barring swearing, if you I don't know if you're swearing or anything like that. I know you're not worried about that. But if you want to tell your story, bro, this is the place. You're welcome here.
Let me start by saying, I'm going on over a year, almost a year and a half, standing. Right, all this D-Day started January or July of 2019, and we're definitely it's been a hard road. A lot of learning about myself. At the end of the day, that's the main reason. I apologize because I've got a lot of stuff going on. I think the main reason I want to jump on here to inform a lot of the folks that are on your channel for sure is we're definitely put on this road or this world to accomplish something, right?
All right.
And I believe God has a plan for all of it. Unfortunately, my situation ended in divorce. My wife decided to end our marriage after 16 years of marriage. We've got 3 years. We've got three kids, which I thought was a happy marriage. When all this comes down, the men, and I'm sure some of you ladies that are on the chat feel the same. You try to do the begging, the pleading, the crying to try to stop and try to at least try to make the other person think to come back, right? But unfortunately, with my situation, it just ended up pushing my wife away even faster. There's another layer of my situation that I'm dealing with is my wife decided to um, change a little bit of the lifestyle, right? She was chasing a lifestyle, and I think she still is. Still love the person that's inside of her, but right now I can't focus on her, right? The biggest thing I can probably advise the ladies if they're standing for their marriage, at the end of the day, I think us husbands love that, right? We love the fact that we have a woman by our side, even though maybe that's not what they're feeling, but we enjoy having a woman by our side as a guarantee supporter, right? And I guarantee you, if you work on yourselves, it attracts us back. Um, there's something that I learned, and it's kind of interesting because I learned so much about my wife not being around her over the last year that when I look at her again, it's like I'm looking at her again from back in the day.
Right.
Like I'm almost I'm almost attracted to her in a different sense, right? Now, obviously, the lifestyle that she's taken on is not something I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
With my faith and whatnot, but I believe that's some sort of a spirit that's got a hold of her that doesn't want to let go. But I think eventually things will change, and I'm hoping that maybe there'll be some restoration in the future. But as of now, the most important thing you can do is keep faith in God, and look in yourself and focus on yourself, because that's all really the only thing you can do. It's better yourself in every aspect of your life. If you were a homebody, go outside. If you did a lot of hiking before, maybe let's go inner spirituality and work on ourselves differently, and see what it brings. I've learned so many things, and I met so many people. You were one of them.
Yeah.
Definitely through our journey for sure. That I've never thought possible. And one thing I wanted to note is over the last year, as I got closer to Christ, as I started building my relation to Christ, unfortunately, these crises make you go back to something from the beginning, right? And my faith has always been strong, but I can't tell you how strong it is right now. Right now, I'm currently, to give you guys a little heads up, I'm sharing a little bit of what's going on with me. I just lost my mom and my sister last on the 12th of December to COVID.
Wow.
They passed on the same day. I had to leave my kids to come and help with arrangements I'm still working on. But I can tell you the hit, and I'm sure I'm going to grieve. I'm sure I'm going to mourn. But the hit wasn't as hard as it would have been if I didn't go through the journey that I went over the last year. So I can tell that I'm stronger. And I think just me knowing that, I know I'm going to be okay,
Right
right?
on. Amen.
So and if you ladies are out there trying to figure out, I know one of the questions was, what can I do you know, that I don't feel take advantage of. Work on yourself. The things that you can control. If you're not the type of person that, you know, gets their car done manually, like, just check out some YouTube videos and learn some things. And I can tell that when you uh, you know, when you get any mission, any thought accomplished, anything that you wanted to finish, even if it's small, it's a huge deal internally, and you don't need anything else. You don't need anything else but yourself, right?
Yeah.
You got God next to you, and you're never alone. But I can tell you what I've been going through has helped me so much in this aspect. Now, will it bring my wife back? I don't know. Am I still standing for my wife? I can tell you that I love her still, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I love the person that she is. Well, at least the person that I remember, right? Because it has been a year. Um, I I do know that if my wife were to come back right now, I think it wouldn't work. I think she needs to get to that point herself and realize, you know, something's missing in her life, whatever it is. I can't control what she's going through, but internally, I know that I'm better. Does that make sense? I don't. I hope that
Yeah.
makes sense to
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
So, um, so that's kind of where I'm at. That's been my story over the last year. Still, there's some ups and downs. Our communication has gotten better. I would say, well, at this point, we're divorced, you know, but in the eyes of God, we married through the church. So I consider myself still married to her. Um, and but it's different. It's difficult, right? It's a difficult journey, but it is a journey of self-discovery for sure. Um, and that I won't take lightly, you know, and I'll continue to push that across the board. I'm always for the marriage, and I'll continue to be for the marriage, even with people that I meet across the board. And you know, just let it go. Just let it go. I was like, well, I'm letting go, but I'm not letting go of myself, right? Because I know what I stand for, and I know that I stand for truth, and that truth is only ordained by God, and it's written in His Word, and that's the only way you need to stand by. So it's hard because there's a lot of naysayers out there. The world is quick to want us to finish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I'm not jumping back and forth, but
Listen,
because I
what you're doing, you're talking, man. That's what this
yeah
is about. This is
yeah
just, I had an idea. I don't know if I don't know yet. I don't, you're in our private group over on Facebook, but I wanted to do something a little bit more over on YouTube. I don't know, but the idea was to get men to basically, if you're familiar with this term, empty the clip.
let it out.
That's what I wanted them to do. I wanted men
Yeah,
to, because I believe that no matter what, whether we're with our wives or not, whether we are in isolation or are we in solitude, I think it's important for a man to really hone in what's going on up here. What am I taking in throughout the week? What am I dealing with in my real life? And I how can I change that? How can I accept some things but reject others and know what's for me? Allow God to work through me, and be free and be released of all other things that are not for me, and to know that
right,
it's my humbleness that allows this to happen, not my
right,
ego.
right.
And so I wanted to call that, empty the clip. So I'm glad that the fellas is here. I wanted the ladies to see it. Ladies, tell me what you think. I've talked to Brother Manuel. I have seen his testimony. He has talked many, many times. I have no doubt in my mind that he cares deeply for his wife, and he cares deeply for his family. I can see it in your sons. They don't even know how many kids you got.
We got 3 boys.
You got
Yeah,
3 boys. You
yeah,
got 3 young men. And I'm gonna tell you, I think your youngest looks exactly like you. And these boys look like, dad. We follow dad. Dad is in
yeah,
charge, and he
yeah,
has these boys whipped into shape. And you're
yeah.
doing very well. I don't know if anybody's told you, maybe everybody's telling you, but I'm telling you, you're doing well by these boys. I can see that.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
means a lot. Means a lot for sure.
Right. So, let me see. I don't know if the ladies had any questions. I'm gonna check out right quick. Let me see if anybody had any questions. Okay, so, let's see. Okay, Sister Loria, she had a question for you, Manuel. I think you may have already answered this one, but she wanted to hear if she wanted to reunite, would you do it?
Well, I think at this point it's a great question. You know, if she wanted to reunite right now, I think I think it started off as friends, right? We have to get to know each other. There's a lot of things that I believe, like just spiritually, if I were to accept her back, I also have to accept certain things that she's going to be bringing back, right? Is she the same person that left? Maybe not. Maybe she is. Maybe she's come to, right? The story of the prodigal son. Maybe she got to the point. Should I accept her with open arms, like the father did with the son? Um, I think God is still working on me, and that's how I'll answer it. I
Mm.
think He's still working on me, and if it does happen, it's because God ordained it, and I have to be ready for it, right? And
Yeah.
He knows that I'm going to be ready for it. There is one thing I used to do that I learned about myself, and that was I tried to control a lot of little things, even if it wasn't my wife. If it was a control thing, now I'm active duty military, so keep that in mind as well. That's what we do, right? We want to
Mhm.
make sure things are in place. It's what we want to do, but uh, that's one of the things I learned is that I had to let go of certain things that just weren't in my control. And I could tell you my stress level has gone down. Uh, it's given me a different conversation. Uh, and it's about letting go of those small things that just, if they don't feel comfortable or peace, if I don't feel peace in my heart when I make the decision, then I shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
And that's something that is internal. It's something through my prayer. If I make a decision, God is first. I ask Him first, and I allow it to go to fruition, to make it happen. But it's just one of those things that's difficult to let go, and it takes time. I think I'm still working on it, but it ain't over. So
Okay. Well, Sister Loria says she can see it in his eyes. I see it in his eyes. We got some ladies here who might be able to infer some things, and maybe Loria is a little bit of a psychic. I don't know, Loria, if you're a psychic or not, but you're able to read minds or something like that. But I believe everything that this man is saying. I believe him, and he doesn't have a reason to lie over something like that. And I have a feeling that no matter what this situation is, this is something you guys can you either overcome it or you go through it. Either way, this journey has to be taken. It
for
has
sure.
to be taken. And
Yep.
again, I am sorry for the family that you guys have lost. I know you guys, you may not notice, but I work in emergency. I work in emergency center here in Rochester, New York, and I can tell you right now that the where I work, it's full of COVID patients. Right. It's full,
Yeah.
and it's sad because you get to see people, they clown online and they talk about fake shots and vaccines and this isn't real and the government's after us. And listen, people are really, really passing away. There are passing away. I've seen them. I've seen the elderly come in and within minutes, they're gone. Yeah. And it's very scary. And the coughing and the unable to breathe and to see them on their breathing apparatuses, it's a horror show. It really is. And my heart goes out to people who have to, who have lost loved ones. I heard I lost a cousin, but it was a distant cousin, but it doesn't matter. It's affecting the whole country. It really is. And also too, I want to thank you for serving our country. Thank you for your service and what you're doing. And I just know that I asked the ladies if they, if there's any ladies in here with active duty husbands or partners, because I understand too that it goes on a lot, with our military brethren and their wives that, they come to an impasse in a relationship and just things are very hard to deal with. And just have you guys here. Let me see if anybody else. Brother Benjamin is in here. Brother Benjamin, how you doing? What's going on? Brother Benjamin, this show tonight is for the fellas. So I want you to, if you can hit the link in here somewhere, I'm going to try to post it. Let me see. And bang, there it is. So I'm going to post it. Let me see if anybody else had anything to say. Carolina Max says, get ready. Brother Manuel, he's saying get ready. Don't play it on. Don't do that. Don't you do that over here, brother. Don't you make God show out on this page. I don't know if I'm ready for all that. Don't you make the Lord show out on my page. And let's see. Shera says that the boys, they are watching you too. This is making a positive impact in their lives. Brother Manuel, can you tell me what is it like being a standing husband with your sons front row center, seeing you and how this all plays out?
So So obviously, I mean, I've done a lot of counseling. I've done a lot of work on myself. One of the biggest things I had is, as a father, the hardest thing to do is to not be a hypocrite, right?
Oh
Tell them
yeah,
to do things, and then you do it, and then they see you do it, and then your credibility's over, right?
yeah.
Well, I had a great father that taught me a lot. He taught me a lot how to be a humble man, always do the right thing, and I'm still working on that, right? And when this situation occurred, obviously it's beyond our control. There's nothing I could have done to change it. I think it had to happen that way. Uh, uh, I think that my sons, from what I gather, their input was all about like, Dad, you didn't leave us.
Mhm.
Dad, you're not going to leave us. You keep telling us you love us. Dad, you know. Um, Surprisingly, I spoke to my neighbor about this same situation as I was venting, and he told me it happened to him as well. And he was a child. So he said, he said, he said, Manny, you're gonna be, you're gonna be there. I don't know what he said, but they're gonna admire you forever for what you're doing
Mhm.
because they see it, right? They see it. Now, do I want them to have a relationship with their mother? Absolutely, absolutely want that because I think both. I think kids should have both parents. Um, you got to have that. You got to have both sides. And from the feedback I get, my kids are respecting the situation. They know that I'm standing. They know I did have a conversation with them. They knew it was going to be hard. They knew it won't guarantee her to come back. These are conversations I had with them. But I told them, I talked to them about the truth. I said, hey, in the Bible, it's ordained between a man and a woman, right? A marriage is for life. It's not until I'm not happy anymore or I'm not in love with you anymore. It's for life, and those are the hurdles you have to do and get through together.
Mhm.
Now, it's unfortunate that can't control the other person, and that's fine. But each of us, God gives us free will. Just like I think your previous guest was talking. He mentioned that that's God's daughter as well, and I'm God's son, and he wants him, or he wants us to have a relationship with him first, and that's it. That's the initial thought, and I think a lot of this had to happen so that I can build that relationship with God and Christ and know Him more than I already did know Him. So until death is really what it is. I just saw Carolina say something, but yeah, absolutely, amen, and that's the truth. I did kind of do a push here uh, a couple days ago when I spoke to my wife. I did tell her like, hey, I'm not. I still consider our marriage to be valid through the church, and I am not going to pursue an annulment. I said, if that's what you like to do, that's your prerogative, but it's not mine. Um, I did learn something. I'm Catholic, by the way.
Mhm.
And one of the deals that we have is before. This is something I didn't know. Before any couples were to divorce, I guess they would meet the tribunal first
Mhm.
before they go into the civil matter. And so that's something that would you'd basically have to defend your marriage in front of priests, the tribunal priest,
Mhm.
as to whether or not your marriage was valid or not.
Wow.
And I didn't know that. If I think if we were to bring that back, it'll halt a lot of this. And then also, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I did learn the legal aspect of what is that called? The alienation of affection. I
Yeah.
think would avoid a lot of that too. And I'll allow you guys to look that up because I'm no legal. I'm not a legal representative by no
So what is
means.
it called again? The alienation of affection?
Yeah, alienation of affection. I believe there's
Yeah.
one state that still does that.
Mm.
It allows you to come, basically sue the affair partner if there is one, um, uh, for whatever reason. I think for breaking up the marriage at the end of the day. So
Wow.
because it does put a damper on you. As you look more and more into the topic, you're basically getting sued in a process that you already lost
Wow.
as a divorcee, right? As a person that doesn't want a divorce. Um, but that's just my experience,
Yeah.
and I didn't want it, still don't, but I'm here, still trying to make better of myself, and that's all I can do. So.
Okay, so let me see. Loria says, I bet if she hear you got a girlfriend, she gonna want to come back. Loria, get out of here. What are you doing out here? Don't
Well,
do it. Don't do
I don't know. It's I I do got to admit there has been some potential people that have made their intentions known, but
it.
I stood firm and said, "Look, let's keep it as friends. There's no need. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. If the time comes and I feel peace at it with my heart, then maybe. But at this point, no, that's not the case. But
It's okay. Modest man, modest answer, and an honest one at that. So what else does Loria say? Oh no, I'm still married to my first husband after all these years. Oh my God, say it ain't so juicy. Loria, we're gonna have our time for the women to talk on here on the chat, because it sounds like that's a loaded situation. If you want to talk about it, we can. We're definitely here to listen. Carolina says North Carolina does that. So I guess you know
yeah,
what you're talking about.
yeah.
Man, let me see. With you, the same. What is it, Loria says? But when God get finished with them, yeah, it's true. He seemed like a good man. Look at that. See, it's true. He seemed like a good
I
man.
appreciate the comments.
Loria out here shooting her shot. Loria, I'm looking at you. Sure,
Not yet, Loria.
yeah,
Not
you
yet.
know what's going on. You can find Brother Manuel on Instagram. I'm not trying to start no mess, but if she got some conversation and you got some time, and she might be the one. But anyway, let's see. Let's see. Brother Benjamin says, with you, brother, same. She wants divorce, but I don't want anything to do with the divorce. Brother Benjamin, I read your comment. If you want to, I just want to hear what life is like for you, like what it is that you're dealing with. How are you keeping up with everyday life? What is it like for men? Because we're not quite hearing these things. We hear from the women all the time, and we are definitely going to have time. Um, we're gonna do that for the women too, but for tonight we're gonna do the men, and the women can ask them within reason any questions you guys have to pertain to a situation, because we want to glean some information from each other. This is how we learn how to deal with this. A lot of times when we're standing for our marriage, we feel alone. Our kids are there, but they don't understand. Family's there, but they can only deal with it for so long.
Right.
And
You
our
know
spouse,
what?
obviously, they're not listening. So
You know what I've noticed is just in my journey and my experience. I don't want to sound sexist. I don't want to sound chauvinistic or anything like that. But the one thing about a standing husband with kids, people tend to like worry about how you're handling the day to day because it's not the norm, right? Typically, mom gets the kids.
yeah,
That's typical, right? That's just the way. Uh, and as far as my experience goes, that's typical. So I have gotten so much support from everyone. I'm not perfect. There's things that are kind of falling on the wayside, right? Like, oh man, I didn't cook all the vegetables this week. I gotta put them away, right? Because things get late at work. I just there's so many things that just automatically, just because I'm a man with my kids, that I feel like they need to be check on me, and it's I don't know if I'm saying that as I don't need it, because I'll get help wherever I can get it, and I'm humble about it, and I'll pay it forward as much as I can. But it does happen where you end up being like the only guy with kids, the only single dad with kids, and trying to manage like um, I think women have a upper hand on us with this,
mm.
because if they're stressing, like if you are stressing, what do? Let's cover that up with some foundation or
Yeah,
something, right?
yeah. They
And
get
let's
the
get
cover.
back to it.
Yeah,
But we
but
can't. We just
no,
wash our face and go,
yeah,
right? And me as a person, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. You can kind of tell, but I've gotten rid of that slow walk. I've gotten rid of a lot of that, just the head down. it's all about moving forward and getting stronger with the situation at hand, and that's how we face everything as men. I think, if there's a part that we need to fix mechanically, if there's something in the house that's broke, we want to fix that right now. Let's go get like 5 or 6 different tools that we don't need for the job, but we're going to get them anyway, just in case we get other jobs in the future, right? But we want to fix things right now. And what I learned is to slow down a little bit, take care of the boys. One of the biggest things that I've noticed that I had to do is be there emotionally for my boys. I have to check on them. They're all different. Their personalities are different, so I have to check on them differently, right? One-on-one. If there's something going on at school, I got to check on them differently. Not in front of his other brothers to make him feel, putting them in check or whatnot. But it is hard to do that. But you got to balance it out. Something does have to give, and unfortunately, right now, it's usually sleep. That's okay. That's okay. You're doing it. You're doing it for your kids, and you're willing to do everything for your kids. So it's not a big deal to me.
All right, man. Well, you definitely you're focused on those kids and you're doing the right things. Let me see. I'm gonna catch another couple questions here for you, Brother Manuel. This is from Alexis, and she says, how do you deal with actions and words not being in alignment?
Actions and words not being in alignment. I think that's a great question, because right now, if I had to address the situation, I think my wife's actions are in perfect line with her words. I did get the vilification at the beginning. There's still some pain there that I noticed, but that's kind of how I gotta accept it. It's very face values, it's very surface level conversations, no deep. But with our situation with my mom and my sister, yeah, we did talk a little bit deeper. No relationship talk, but it is definitely harder. Actions for sure that I notice in regards to the relationship with the kids are a little different. Her actions want I'm sorry, her words, she wants more. She wants the relationship a little faster, I think, and her actions don't meet up with that. I don't know how to deal with it. It's difficult. I think every day is different, and I got to take it on. Definitely something I need to search to give you a better answer. But that's a great question. How does one deal with that, right? Because I've gotten it from her side. She said my actions don't, meet up with my words sometimes. But what does that mean? What is she talking about? I don't know. Because she knows where I stand. She knows that I want the family back, and it's hard. It's difficult. That's a great question.
All right, so there you go. It's a great question. Let's see. Sister Amy says, evening. It's been a while. Truly feel it's not about another person, but the enemy lying to both spouses. When a spouse wants to leave, they just want out because they are in pain and deceived. It's an astute assessment there, Sister Amy. If you have any questions for Manuel, here's the time to hit him up, you guys, because this man has he's been through a lot, going through a lot, but he's handling it. So I'm pretty sure he's got, more insight. If you guys want to ask him more questions, and just give him Brother Manuel, I'm gonna, if no one else has a question just yet, I want to end this session like I did with my boy Carolina. 3 qualities. What are 3 qualities that make up a good husband / leader in a marriage? What have you learned?
Jeez. Oh, that's hard. I think a lot of it for me surrounds around my faith, right? So I think love is one.
Okay.
Because I think love is across the board, something that's always giving, not taking, not selfish. It's always about the other person, right? Having the love for a person that doesn't deserve it. I think love is one. 2, geez, on the spot. Let's figure this out.
I gotta put you on the spot.
Right.
The women, they got to know. They got to know that there's love.
Right.
Men express it.
Absolutely. Love for sure. Number two, um, I think compassion is another one. I think I'm stealing that from your boy, but compassion is very important to have for the other person. Compassion for the situation, right? And I'm gonna add one more: patience.
Patience.
Because I think patience it's so important to have in any situation, not to jump to conclusions, not to jump. And I'm still learning that, right? I think that comes with age. It comes with wisdom and time to really have that patience that that my father had, or my great grandfather had, or my grandfather had. Uh, the patience is important to be able to look at things in a better light, maybe in a different perspective, for sure. So
okay. And Sister Amy asked, and she got in her questions before the end of it. Let me get this question. She says, "Thank you for the opportunity, Manuel, to ask." She says, "Why do both standards and why do both standards and prodigals have double-mindedness? Have you ever had to deal with that situation, double-mindedness? Are you familiar with that?"
I'm actually not familiar with double-mindedness. I imagine it's that. I mean, I think we kind of typically we talked about it. I think in regards to that evil spirit that's attached to it, and I don't know. It's selfish, I guess. I was speaking to my priest about something like that, and I mean, you're dealing with wounds that are deep, right, deep in the soul, deep down. That's something that just has to repair itself over years, and I don't know. I imagine it's not them in particular. I think it's something deeper. So, yeah, double mindedness. I think we get that a lot. When I'll give you an example. The other day, I did speak to my wife, and I said, "Hey, pray for me because of what I'm about to endure with my family. Right, making decisions to lay my lay my lay, lay my lay my lay my mom to rest." And I remember she avoided the prayer thought. She said, "My thoughts are with you." I said, "Interesting. Don't like to look into it too much, but anything that has to do with God or the Word, she's been avoiding it 100%." So it's like, well, when you look at somebody that's got some type of bad spirit attached to them, they run away. And it's like, well, I got to continue to pray for her, and that's all I can do. So
Okay.
I hope that helps. I hope that.
Yeah, there you go, Sister Amy. So we're all looking for that answer. We all have our experiences and our own anecdotal experiences, but we're looking for
Sure.
an eternal question. Maybe that's why the word is here. That's why it's here for direction. It's not here for. It's not a suggestion. It's all direction. All right, Brother Manuel, I'm gonna let you go on ahead, bro, and thank you again for helping us out tonight. All right.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
I think I clicked the remove button way too fast. So let me see. Brother Benjamin was here, but he dropped out. I don't know if you're still here, Brother Benjamin. Let me know. Ladies, if you guys have I don't know if you have any questions. Maybe there's something that Brother Manuel did not touch on. Gloria says she's not ready to give in to Jesus. That's all. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if Brother Manuel's wife, if the wall was simply to accept God into her life, and then it all just comes, just everything, that belongs to the Lord. Oh my goodness, that would be so good. And I feel like that's it. Girl, if that's what it is, wherever she is, if that's what it is, God's coming, he gonna find you, because he's not lost and he hasn't rejected you, and you're definitely his lamb. He is coming. He's coming. And when he finds you, I pray that the walls just fall. You open up to your boys, you open up to your husband, and just rebuke all of what those things that keep you away from your family, and know that just, it might have been fun. It might have been what you needed at the time, but it was in no shape, fashion, or form going to sustain you. The love of Jesus, the love of God is going to sustain her. That's going to sustain her. And he's going to give her everything. As soon as she gives that up, she's going to get everything back tenfold. Gonna get everything back. Oh, Desiree's in the house. What's going on? House of Israel is here. How you doing? Yes, glory to God, glory to God. Carolina says, thanks, bro, for being here. So Desiree, if you're here, I got tonight is really for the men. I had one guy up here, a brother Benjamin. I think he had to drop out for one reason or another. He just, he couldn't have been here. But the tonight show was really for the men. So if you're a man, if you're a fella, if you're a husband standing for your marriage, fighting for your marriage, or maybe you've been restored, the floor is yours tonight. The floor is yours. Like Job said, he received double portion, most definitely. And I'm just telling you, I feel like it's gonna happen. The more he said, pray for me. She says, you're in my thoughts. Don't listen. God is like the spirit of the Lord is like a surgeon. Don't if the sickness and the symptoms and the signs just gonna keep popping up, you're telling him where to go. You're gonna tell him where to go. And when he gets there, it's over. The demons start getting scared, they start running, hell starts shaking. It just life ain't the same. Life ain't the same, and life becomes so much better. We have to focus our prayers on what they need as well as ourselves and get deeper into our prayer life. Amen. Amen to that, brother. And let's see. That's right. That's okay. Come on, Kings. Right on. So I don't know, if any other fellas are here. If you guys aren't, I'm going to post the link in the chat again. I can't wait to get to the point where I would have like moderators in the chat, but I got to be a little bit more of a consistent streamer for all of that. But we will get there because it's already getting late. Normally, you guys, I'd be like doing something else, lifting like kettlebells or something, but it's all good. It doesn't matter. Okay, so if the guys, if anybody's going to click, earlier today, we had Brother James on there, so we had Manuel. We did have Benjamin, but he's not here. But if there's any other fellas in the room, it's all good. There will be, ladies, a ladies' night where all you guys get to come on live and talk about your experiences as being a standing wife, because I know that some of the men have questions that you guys may be able to answer. We get a female perspective. I know we can get a female perspective anywhere, but I want to talk to, and I'll make this quite clear, marriage-minded women. Not I want the ring, not I want the wedding reception. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm talking about women who have seen they've seen their husband, they've seen their children, they have their lives together, they serve the Lord, they're willing to live out the rest of their life humble, happy, and secure, okay, and know what they have. And there's nothing wrong with being human. It all, our iniquities and our follies are where we fall at. It's normal. These are normal things. But see, we have the power to correct ourselves, to invite and allow discipline to take place for accountability, and then also to impart and receive love. Impart and receive love. And I really want to have that night for you guys as well, so that the men will have questions for you to receive. Trying to think what would be a good night. I'm off a couple nights this week, so I'll fit you guys in there somewhere. I know I'm gonna do it. And how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna post it up on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please go to Instagram, type in @Loc'd Pop over on Instagram. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't found me on Facebook, just type in Tyree Wilson. I'm the guy with the dreads and the glasses. So you go ahead and find that one. Not the button up. Don't click the button up. That's my old channel. I'm on my own page. I don't use that anymore. So find me, like a face page. I'm a real person. Even though we podcast, even though we talk to people on the side, visit the website if you haven't. Sign up for the website, www.tyrewilson.com. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share, notification bell. It allows the show to grow. There's no better way to help this show grow, especially at this stage. I've been doing this podcast in this channel for about 2.5 years now, and I've learned a lot about myself, what it is to run a YouTube channel, and then to connect with the listeners and the viewers. So again, I thank you guys all for being here. I know I saw a question. I wanted to try to answer it. Let me see one, because I know it kind of pertains to me, and this is by Loria. She says, why men listen to their mothers when they know she doesn't like the wife? Why do men listen to their mothers? Well, besides the obvious fact that that's their mother, it depends on what the mom's talking about. You gotta get a little bit more specific for me. So it all depends on For me in particular, are you dealing with was he raised, was he raised in a single mother home? Like, was it mom that was always there? Was dad always gone? um what would it what relationship did they have going forward? Also too, it could be a situation where the mother has a really uh weird relationship with her son, what they call online to be the son husband relationship with the mom. Mom is so close to the son, and she loves him, but she kind of like shelters him a little bit, and she's trying to look out for him, a little overprotective, for whatever reasons they are her own. I don't believe there's like any spirit or demon taking place or whatever like that. I simply believe that these are just two humans interacting with each other, but he may be her de facto husband, and you're entrenching on that situation. But anyway, it still doesn't change the fact that if the son is listening more to his mother than to his own wife, then the son has some learnings or some teachings to catch up on as far as being around men and as far as being around married men, because there is a lesson for men that he is to join his wife. He leaves his mother and his father, and he's to join his wife. This also speaks to that man's level of security. If he doesn't have any security about himself, then what feels safe to him is his mother, because no matter what he does, his mother is right there. With that being said, that relationship actually is it becomes very fragile the older the man gets, because at some point he understands that if his mother happens to teach him and do things that are very hypocritical to the way she brought him up, then that man will find a way to break away from his mother, in which case then yes, he may double down on you, but that still proves that he has somewhat of a weird relationship with his mother that he will have to be seen for. But it will only happen when he's ready for it to happen. So I know I threw a whole lot at you, a little bit on the mental side of things. As far as the relationship goes, that's kind of like an issue I have. I'm sorry, but I go down that path. Man, I've been talking for a minute. I ain't drunk no water. I gotta grab some water and get to drink me a glass or something like that. And I'm gonna hold on. I see you guys are all typing something. Hold on, let me see. That's a good thing to see with your wife, husband, avoid praying for that area of those blind spots. They show they face. Absolutely. Look at this right here. I'm gonna highlight this for y'all. I'm gonna highlight this for you because my brother Carolina Max makes a good point, and boom, there it is. It comes back to to stinking thinking her voice is louder than God's voice in his head. And until he knows his place in the Lord, he will always have a standoffish attitude to what his mom says. Yes. And so it may not have anything to do with you. You just happen to be there. Like you just happen to be there. Yeah, it's just that's just how it is. You're just a bystander to what is really a bad relationship, a very unclear relationship between a mother and son. So I want to ask, do I want to ask this question? I don't want to ask this question. I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide. I don't want to assume anything. I don't want to ask any questions, but I do know one thing. I will make an only reason I'm speaking on this is because, like I said, for certain brothers in our community, Black community is what I'm talking about. I don't know if it's like that in the Spanish community. I don't know what it's like, in Asian community or something like that. But mothers, and our women really do have powerful voice, powerful presence, powerful sway over the men. We just do. I'm not exactly sure if it was always like that or if it wasn't like that or whatever the case may be, but it's there. And the same thing can be said for men, but we have been raised to love and protect the women that we're bound to. So there you go. It's certain things about breaking strongholds. There you go, Caroline. You're right, brother. Breaking strongholds. Strongholds. That's what it is. And we don't know how to do that. It's tough to do that without feeling shame and guilt. Like I know, mom. Like this. No, mom. No, mom. You don't want to be harsh towards your mother, but you got to let it be known that you love her, but she's not your wife. I'm the leader. I have to take care of this woman who shares life with me. You bore me, so there's no way I could ever pay you back. First of all, let's just get that out of the way. I can never pay you back. There's nothing I can say or do that will ever pay you back for what you've done for me, you and dad. But I'm here and I made it all the way to adulthood. You raised me for a reason, and that is to take care of a family of my own. And now it is time for that to happen. So like Carolina said, when that brother is ready to break those bonds and get back to you, that it will happen. It will happen. My wife would tell you, you know what, if Tiffany was here, she'd tell you like, yeah, he kind of, his mother says weird things. He goes back, he talks to her, he deals with her. He comes back and, he's good again, but then his mom calls him and guilt trip him and stuff like that. It's just that weird thing. It didn't take too much of me trying. I didn't have to get nasty with my mother. Like that never had to happen. I simply had to explain to my mother in a calm but loving tone and understanding tone that she has a husband. And even at her age and at her time, you should really be it will be best spending that time getting your husband to a place where he feels secure with you. You're pouring into him, because let's be honest, the average age for Black men is about 68. My dad is like 63. The average age range for Black women is about 78. My mother's 61 or 62 or 30. I don't know. She doesn't tell me. So and I don't know. So and the women are speaking to these things, but I'm not highlighting y'all comments because I'm not going there. As soon as we go there, somebody mom gonna show up in this chat. Someone's right. Let's see. Carolina says, you're right, bro. It's our culture upbringing. Sort of like saying snitching is wrong until it's somebody you love. Hypocritical thought processes. Yeah, man. We got a lot to we have a lot to unpack. This is why I wanted to call the call-in show for men, the Empty the Clip, because there's some things we need to talk about. And if you guys aren't careful, like for us men, there are channels that are coming up that promote that type of acrimonious encounter with our female counterparts. And I understand it, but for all intents and purposes, man, it's just war. All it is just war of the sexes, gender wars, and all of that. And where's God in all of that? Like I can't do it, but I know it's everywhere. It's being a content creator, these things do pop up. You have to be careful where you spend your time and who you surround and who you allow into your auditory and visionary senses and all that. You got to be careful. It really does. It can turn you for a loop. That's why I love speaking to these women. I'll let it be known right here, you guys. I find marriage-minded women, one, easier to talk to connect with, to listen to glean real information from. And I feel like you guys are more willing to put in the work. I know that, I'm not saying that all women don't do that, but I know that marriage-minded women will put in the work. And when they hold a man to a standard, it's a standard that is of men, what she expects of her man, and what she's seen and how it plays out. I don't talk to women who are known for manipulating men. I talked to a young lady today who talks about, her husband not getting this and he won't get that and he won't get this, but will he come back to me? And I'm like, well, I'm sure he can, but the situation is that he probably left because you have a history of withdrawing your love, your attention and your affection and your care from this man when he behaves in a way that you don't care for. And that is not how this works. You're not his friend anymore. And the other woman that he's with, you made it very easy for her. That woman had to work. She had to learn this man. She had to do everything she could to figure him out. And the worst thing you could do is remove. And I know it's natural. And I know you don't mean to do it. And it's a natural response. But the minute you stop being your husband's friend, you're going to lose him. You're telling him in so many ways that he is better off somewhere else. So that was my soapbox. That was my soapbox. Let me see. anybody else, you're both have something to learn. It's the issues, then you know that you're targeted in prayer. But it's all so yeah. We gotta get the ladies. We're gonna get a ladies' night going because you guys got a lot of good questions. You guys have a lot to talk about. And you can glean some information, and you can share some information with the men. You can share some information with the ladies. I mean, y'all going in down there. What is going on? Okay, Lori, let me see your questions. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Brother Carolina's down there doing his thing. I'm telling you. And listen, like I tell everybody else, like Desiree too, and Carolina and Loria and Amy and and Shera, everybody who's joined this podcast. Listen, there needs to be more shows. It shouldn't be just Loc'd Pops. It shouldn't just be TCB marriages. It shouldn't just be what is it? Marlene Martinez. It shouldn't be when is ladies night? Ladies night is when you want ladies night. But if it's up to me, let me think. Ladies night can be Wednesday night, and that's after I get out of work. It could be Wednesday night. I get out of work, I'll be like wrapping some gifts, but when I say wrapping, I mean putting in gift bags. So Wednesday night, so that's gonna be a tough one. That's what is that, Christmas Eve? I don't know anymore. Not Wednesday night. Thursday night, I don't know. If you follow me, right, it says House of Israel. She has a channel as well, right on. And you know, if you have the link, Desiree, go ahead and put that link in there as well, because it's not that you have to agree and follow what everybody says. There needs to be more marriage-minded, God-fearing, and word of God following channels to really spread this message out here, because I'm telling you, there's up and coming male content creators who have a really hard standard of living for himself and for the wife, and it does, and again, it's all based off of a man's carnal desires. Okay, it's based off of that. And then there are a lot of women who are living like men, who are talking about having a relationship. They want to have a relationship, but only if a man is subjugated to the carnal desires of the woman. No way, man. No way. That's not the answer. I mean, if you guys want to go down that path, that's fine. There's conversations that could be had here and there, but again, those people, they're having different conversations. I'm not sure how to grab the link. You're gonna make me go to your channel and grab the link for you, aren't you? I know you are. So let me hold on for a minute. Let's see. Now I'm gonna go to this channel, and I go to this channel. I'm gonna grab the link. I don't think I know how to do it either, but hold on. You know what, too, Desiree? I gotta, you got some good stuff going on here. I like it. Because you're talking and stuff like that. So if you guys haven't subscribed to her, let me see. Can I do it this way? Let's see. Copy. Let me see if I paste it. I'm gonna paste it in the chat, and we're gonna see if it worked that way for you, Desiree. Let's see. And I'm doing this. This is a one-time thing. I'm never doing this again for another content creator. I don't care. I'm never doing this again. But I rock with Desiree because she rocked with me really early in the stages of up and coming. Then she went out there and she did it herself. She's come a long way. This woman is about her relationship with God. She's about her relationship with her husband. She's and she's just doing what she got to do. That's what it is. She's doing what she got to do. Okay, let me see if I did this right. I'm going to hear myself in a minute. Okay, so I think your link is up there. Well, thank you. May God bless you abundantly. Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so listen, that link should work. So if anybody, you go ahead and click on that and hit the subscribe button. That would be great. Let's see what Carolina says. Carolina says, I don't like men I don't like men who beat down men for likes and to appeal to women instead of building a better perspective for those women. You know what, Carolina? There you go. We're gonna make that a topic. And so what you just said, I'm about to shot that right now. Because this is something that men and in the show Empty the Clip, this is something we could talk about. And snap. Okay, hold on. That snap. Okay, got it. It done snapped. Let's see. I'm not sure how to grab the link. Somebody put, what is this? No, I don't know what we're talking about here. I'll be here. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to talk about this. I'm glad, Sister Shera, that you're ready and you're here to talk about it. Zay Hudson is another one, you guys. Yeah, Zay. I just watched that one. I couldn't get her link to post over on Instagram, but I saw Zay's channel. And Zay and her husband, they're young. You know, so they actually have the fact that they've gone through what they went through at such an early age. And I'm at 36 and my wife is 35. I'm kind of like, oh my God, that's so cute. Look at those guys. That's so cute. You know, like what they're going through. And it makes a lot of sense. But let me tell you something. When you've been that age, you know why they're going through what they go through. And you're glad to be witness to what they have going on. And I pray that they have many years, but they have a lot of years ahead of them. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a lot of years ahead of them. And they seem to be very serious about each other. Too bad there aren't more men out there willing to help. But I mean, they're there. They just don't want to talk too much. Like, see, look, bam, look at that. Laura says something. We checked out. Boom. DB says, blessings, good brother. Missed the theme for tonight, but seems we focusing on the brothers standing and fighting the spirit. And so we are, DB. And it is 12:35. I don't care what time it is. I don't care if it's happening, and when it's happening for a reason. And so for brother DB, I mean, I will send you the link. I'll send you the link, DB, and just paste it in the chat. I'll paste it here in the chat, and then you can click the link, DB. And what we'll do is we'll talk about like what is your experience, because the women are here. They want to hear it from the men. And they're not here. They're not here for an echo box. You know, they're not here to hear the same thing they hear everywhere else. They hear it from the women. And they hear it from older women, and they hear it from single women. They don't hear it from, for men that are marriage minded, for the men that are serious, that are putting in the hours. You know, we have shed the tears. We have said the prayers. We have taken our faith to another atmosphere in order to get through this. This is not a joke. You know, it's something that we've been through, and they really do. It seems, ladies, do you guys really seem to value what the men are having to say and share with you guys tonight? And like I said, it's feeling like you're alone is just it does bother you. And that's what we do. We're humans. We're here for a reason, man. You know, people matter, what we're going through. And, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We have to get out here. We have to be willing to listen as well as talk and compare notes and create a community. That's what I wanted to do. It's what I've always wanted to do, was create a community of people who knew that we just knew that they were doing it for their marriages and not lost or overtaken by disappointment, generational curses, the shackles and the bonds of cultural upbringing, and basically just losing what we once valued. So, brother DB, if you're still here, yes, Laura says we value it. We appreciate it. We are not alone. You are not alone. If you guys found me on Facebook, that's my banner. You are not alone. When I created this channel, oh my God, I didn't know who I was talking to, you guys. For the first year and a half, I didn't know who I was talking to. I was just talking. I was just in my camera. I wrote a book. When I wrote my book, Stand Your Ground, I had no clue what a stander was. I had no clue, none. And so when I wrote that book, I had no clue who I was talking. I guess I was talking to myself. Maybe that's what I think that's what happened. I watched a video and it says you write a book, you're kind of like you're talking to yourself, or you can create an avatar of a man or a woman that you're creating, and you want to connect with that person. So you write the book for that person. So let me write it for the man who has doubted himself. Let me write it for the man who is not sure that what he taught was the truth. And, you know, even if he doesn't have 12 hours to deep dive into these things to figure out who he is as a man, maybe he's got an hour and a half. You know, he's got an hour and a half to read my 30-page book. And it's all about speaking into him life, you know, speaking into him what to do next. So I wrote that book and I put it out there. I had no audience. I didn't know what I was doing. It was family who bought it. I think my mom bought the book twice. But I did it and I felt so good. I told my wife about it and she thought it was funny, but I don't care. I was proud of that book. I was super proud. So it seems as though I don't know where DB went, but he's not up here. So I don't know if you're still out there, bro. You are not alone. So that's okay, you guys. I'm actually okay with where this went today. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. There's 6 of us now, but who knows? Maybe next time there'll be 14 of us. You know, maybe there'll be 12 of us next time, and that'd be great. Again, I want to thank you all, especially for the men who came up here, for the ladies, for your question, for everybody. You guys all showed out. This isn't a mistake, and I know that this is going to help us in the long run, and our spouses are going to see this. You know, Gloria says, a word to men. Yes, women can be sorry for hurting you and do change. I'm one. Right. So, yeah, women can be sorry. We know that. Hopefully a lot of other men know that. I've seen women apologize. You know, some people say women have a hard time apologizing. Well, women say that men have a hard time apologizing. I think it's more just based on that person, that individual, but you know, it's not a scary thing. Apologizing it's freeing, not just for the offended, but for the offender or those that are affected. Sometimes we forget men have feelings too. Yeah. And this is the space where those men are welcome and we can talk about, and you know, it's just, let's hear from our brothers, you know, in all shapes, sizes, and colors. Let's hear from them and what they're going through, and, you know, give them a chance to open up here so that they can live their lives. You know, they can live their life and they could put it in, you know, and I'll put it into the atmosphere. You know, we put in the atmosphere. These men want to build, they want to love, they want to provide, they do want that, but they want to do it with a woman that they feel is their friend, and they feel like there is their lover, and values them and wants them, and you know, and all those things, because men always have a strong face. We do have to have a strong face, and it can be read really bad. I told, if I didn't smile enough, people were afraid of me. Even when I was working at emergency where I work now, they are like, if I'm not smiling, something's like off. And I'm like, no, there's nothing to smile about. Like, I can't, you know, smiling all the time. You know, you find out how often men have to smile for people to feel safe around them, you know, but you know, it's whatever. Charge it to the game. Charge it to the game. Oh, okay. My brother D is up here. D, I gotta get you to turn your camera on though, bro. I know it's late. I know the time frame is probably what you know, probably got you a little messed up. I don't know if you guys are ready for this. You guys do know that my brother D is I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna let him tell you, but I'm gonna let him tell you. I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna let him tell you. He happens to hold a pretty decent position as far as his work. And what he's done for the community, for his community where he is. I'll bring him up here. Let me see. D, do you have the camera? I know it's late. You probably brushed your beard. The ladies are here. We need a Zoom meeting. What y'all think? Maybe y'all need a Zoom meeting. Yeah, I don't know, because if everybody get to talking in a Zoom meeting, that's gonna be tough to deal with. That might be tough to deal with, but I'll look into it. We Zoom for kids' classrooms, right? We do it for their classrooms. All right, so Brother David, if you're out there, I know you're there, you guys. He's actually right in front of me, but if you could turn your camera on. Turn your camera on. I would love to bring you up onto the podcast. I would love to bring you up on the stream because you control the mic. I got the mic, but I don't control the camera. And then I think Brother DB don't want to. He may not want to be seen. Let me bring him up. Hold on. Let me see here. There he is. He just, I don't know. Are we going to recognize DB? You would if you follow politics. If you follow politics, you would recognize him. David, are you there? Brother David, are you there?
Trying to get my
My
headset is working.
Wait, I hear this. I see the thing moving. Hold on. Dang, my speaker was off. Okay. Are you there, David?
Okay, I'm here.
Bro,
Can you see me?
All right. Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you. Okay. Man,
Gotcha. I've been
welcome
trying
to
to
the
get
to the
my headset to work, so my apologies. But good to hear from you, brother. How
yeah,
you
it's
doing?
all good. Yeah, I'm doing real good, man. So I'm glad you caught the stream. I forgot about the time difference where you are. So I was like, oh yeah, like I can't be jumping off just yet. I gotta make sure I get those. Wait, what is this? Oh, okay, that's a good email. I gotta make sure to get this information out there to everybody, the notifications out there so that you can hear it. So while you're up here, you ladies, this is my good friend, good buddy, David Bowen is his name. Look at Eric out here too. Eric, if you're gonna get a chance to hit the link or whatever like that and join the stream. However, David, I brought men on here today because we wanted to hear from what it's like for men who have been standing and fighting for their marriages, praying for their marriages, reestablishing their relationship with God, reinforcing their relationship with God. And so the women are here because they want to ask questions or they just want to hear it from you. What has it been like? What are your experiences? And then I'll ask you a couple of questions along the way.
Yeah. No, I think just one of the things I've really learned from you is just how much this experience has to do with you rather than what you feel like the things are going on around you or with the things that are going on with your spouse or with the prodigal that you are with. So I've learned a lot about just what God is doing in me and putting my hope and trust and belief in what I know is happening in the spirit rather than in the physical, the physical realm of things that are happening around me.
Okay. Rather than the physical. Uh-oh,
So
who's
big shouts out to all the Loc'd Pop Talks followers out there.
Right.
And you know what's also funny too, and when, I've had a chance to message you a little bit about this, just like as a man going through this, I've reached out to a lot of people know Nicole, a lot of people know Meltoria, and I remember reaching out to them because I didn't see any men standing like that, and found you, and you know, it was a blessing to be able to connect with a man that is that you know has some experience, some that can relate to the overwhelming feelings that you're going to have in a process that makes you feel very vulnerable, that makes you feel very like the odds are stacked against you. And I think, you know, for it's so many women that are out there, you know, fighting in the spirit for their marriages that you rarely get a chance to really see men that are in the position or in the perspective where they are just as much committed to the fight, committed to the battle, seeking God, chasing Him, and seeing what He has for them in their lives, and be able to move in that way. So it's so much different because I feel like so many times society has these positions of of authority or just that it's just not likely to happen, that you know that men would be able to pursue God in that way, compared to just like how many times they just show women that are so much more in those positions, advocating for their marriages and things of that nature.
Right on. So I got a question for you from one of the members here. It's from Desiree. She says, "Why do you both think that we don't see as many men fighting in this position?" Why do you think that we don't see as many men fighting in this position? Why are we seeing the men?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's just not, you know, that's not the common image that you're going to see, that you're going to get. of people that are at their last, they're at their wits end, and they are chasing God, they're seeking Him. And then also think about it like this: the emotions that men are expected to be able to show, compared to women, compared to having the space, the time, the allowance to be vulnerable, to be able to express more emotions than just being angry.
Yep.
And I remember going through that season, that phase of just pure anger and rage, because it felt like that's the only thing that I could feel. That's the only thing I was allowed to tap into. But me and both that men are definitely showing more emotion than just anger.
Yeah.
We are crying. We are in a position where we're worried, where we are questioning, why is this happening to us?
Yeah.
Questioning why does that I didn't see this coming beforehand. Of us trying to protect ourselves, protect our heart, realizing that we are hurt beyond a measure that we really did not expect or foresee.
Yeah.
That this attack was happening and was on its way. I think sometimes the images that is just allowable for women to be able to go through struggle, to be able to go through situations that they fight for and they seek and then they get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of times it's just that we're used to that image of women advocating and seeking God and seeking answers and being able to fight it and stick it through.
Yeah.
More so than the men on the other end, especially like men prodigals, that represent that image of a wayward spouse and them coming back. It is the complete opposite for us.
Yeah.
We see our spouses dealing with um, a lot of times demonic, dark, evil forces and things that get in the way, and that clearly show that what they're dealing with is it wasn't anything of your own. These are outside forces that are influencing them. That's when it's very clear, as the Bible says, that you are not fighting against them. You are not fighting against flesh and blood. You're fighting against principalities. You're fighting against these the difference in looking beyond what you are hearing and seeing physically from that person and looking much deeper. And that's the reflection I've had to do as well.
Right on. Sister Shera asked us, let me see, I want to make sure I'm going through this in the right order. Let's see. Let me see if I got this. Hold on here. So Desiree says, well, hold on. I clicked the wrong one. I'm sorry. Also, what impression does that leave you with? You being in the position of standing or fighting in the spirit? How it makes you feel seeking for other men and not really finding any? What impression does that leave you with? I think you kind of answered that one already. Like, it's just that men, we're not taught to engage in those type of emotions. We learn that from a very early age. Like we men have to deal with being yelled at. We're not coddled. We're told to get up. If we fall, you fall down 7 times, stand up 8 times. Like, you got to do what you have to do.
Right.
Emotion, if the enemy, if the man across the lines from you can see it in your eyes that you are afraid, then he's already won. So these are things that we just grew up with, and not saying we don't need that. We do need that because of the world we live in, but it's just knowing when to activate. It's the same thing as a woman who has been hurt many, many times in her life. She learned to be hard towards people to keep them away from her already, injured self, her injured spirits. So she learns to be hard, but then she has to learn that it's okay to have that depending on your partner, but it's just like bringing it back down. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, part of that like makes you feel defeated, especially, just the difference of, like you said, not showing weakness and not feeling like you're in a position of power. Um, one of the things that's been really just eye-opening, and God just revealing just how powerful you can be in a position where normally physically you would be just feeling weak, you would be feeling powerless. But he shows you that you can be powerful if you are leaving it in his hands, that you can be much more trusting in the outcome in the end, because at the end of the day, everyone has to answer to him. And that he will not leave you to shame. He will not leave you to be abandoned, but that he will come through on your behalf in some way, shape, or form. So I think as men, and seeing that, we also have to check ourselves, that we can't just allow women to be the only ones that can be in a position where you feel like you don't have power, you feel like you can't do anything. It means that us as men get a chance to check ourselves to our Heavenly Father, who has the final say at the end of the day, just like they do too.
Okay. All right. So yeah, there you go. Next question is from Sister Shera. She asked, how long have you been standing?
Formally about separated 2 years almost, and then a little bit beyond that. So I think probably close to 2.5.
Cool.
But just last week, as I was messaging you, I just had my divorce proceedings last week. So going through that, and doing everything that you are attempting to do to just try to break the enemy's stronghold, and still not seeing that it's broken yet. That is a real just acknowledgement, and getting to that point, and also realizing that, like, while it's hard to move forward, it's hard to acknowledge, especially with the other people that are around you that will start reaching out to you, that want the best for you. They don't want to see you hurt, but you want to follow what God is saying. You want to follow what the Lord has in store for you in this season of your life. Just realizing that it's so much bigger than the other person. It's so much bigger, even than just going to God for one thing. It's one of the revelations my pastor got about me, that I was literally seeking God for one thing, and then it turned into seeking God on behalf of so many other people and so many other things that my life was connected to. So, that's a really good question about just timing, and just how much we get focused on the physical, and that that is tough. I'm not going to deny, just like, that's an abundance amount of time, and a significant amount. But the chronos has to align with the kairos, and it does, and it will, in God's appointed time. But we can't ignore the fact that we're going to feel things. We're going to feel time as human beings. It just comes to the territory.
Right on. Yeah, it does. It comes with the territory. So, if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm gonna ask a few of my own questions for Brother David, and they might, they told a line of kind of personal, but I think that we'll keep it, we'll keep it healthy.
So,
yeah,
you good.
When you decided to marry your wife, when you decided to marry her, I feel like, I personally believe that everybody has a dream, a lesson, something they wanted to teach, or something that they learned they wanted to impart on their partner. When you married your wife, what was your reason for going to the altar?
My reason was confirmation. I've never been, and especially as somebody that has been sometimes indecisive, I've never been so sure of anything at that point in my life. And Really realizing that it was built on a foundation of faith and God, and our journeys with God, and even just where we both were in the spirit and our walk with God. It was that sureness that really brought me down the altar.
Right.
That had me in the position of saying, like, this is the time and this is the one. That's what I was feeling, and I felt like I prayed for that revelation. I prayed for that clarity, and I got it. And the fact that it happened was just mind blowing. It was like, okay, God, this is real. This is what you are guiding me to do. So I was really, it was that trust. It was that that clarity that I had. Most of the men I talk to, they say, you just know. And I think they're right. You just know. It really does hit you. And it's so funny too, because sometimes I'll question myself. Was like, was I thinking clearly? was that
Right,
real?
right,
Was that
right,
really God?
right. Yeah, right. Was that me or was that guy? But you're not, you like you say, you could be sure of yourself, and we've all been there. We've all been there. Like, oh, we knew that was going, like that grade we expected on that test. We just knew if we studied hard enough, we was gonna bang that test out, and we gonna wait. What do you mean? I got a B? Like, nah, that's an A plus. What are you talking about? Nah, but they tell you, nah, it's a B. What? But it happens. And
Sure.
we just kind of move forward. If the ladies, if you guys have a question for our brother David, go ahead and post them in the chat like you guys been doing. I appreciate all the engagement and the feedback and the confirmation, because this is huge, especially for men. There aren't a lot of places that invite the opinions and the testimonies of men. And so if they don't ask any questions, then I'll continue with my own. It's cool. There were times we chop it up on Instagram. What's up, block huggers? How you doing? I see you out here. There comes a time in a marriage where, even as a stander, before you decide that you were standing for your marriage, there were points in where your spouse had you feeling, may have had you very unsure if you made the right decision, if they were the woman for you. Like, oh man, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm not sure I can put up with this. I don't know, I don't know how this is going to look. And I might be looking for a way out. I might want to walk away from this because I can't deal with this level of unsureness. Outside of someone telling you it's something you should do is to stand for your marriage and to fight for your wife and all that other stuff. What kept you close to God? What kept you there in place when it seems like everything else was chaos? What kept you grounded?
Yeah, I mean, and it's so funny. I think I saw y'all in the chat talking about like moms and like parents and stuff like that. Things came full circle when I could tell, like, people were giving me reactions because they just wanted to protect me, and they didn't want to see me hurt, right? So they felt like it was appropriate to say, like, go ahead and divorce, or go ahead and leave, or go ahead and forget her, rather than pushing me towards the cross and be like, well, go search for the answer from God. Like, go seek your father and get answers from that source. And it was funny that, like, I was able to finally have the discernment. And I was praying to God for, like, I have no discernment, Lord, give me some. And for that to finally happen was interesting. But it also just also reminds me of being in that position of realizing that, like, I have to go a lot more deeper and further with God, because up until that point, it was a surface level relationship with God. It was surface level faith with God. It was surface level even struggles that I've had in the past. Like, I might have lost some money. I might have got, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was small stuff. This was real warfare, right? And it's so funny that I've never been this deep into the word. I've never been this deep into my walk with God, and to like really dive into the Bible, and like you seek the word and it starts speaking to you and it starts showing you things.
Yeah.
And to be a warrior in the spirit now, that like, you know, I have done the most prayer and the most fasting that I've ever done in all my life. But it took me to go through this to be able to get there. So that's why at one point I was mad that I had to go through this.
Wow.
Now I can be thankful that I actually had to go through this,
right?
Because there was a graduating in the spirit that I had to endure. There was a test I had to pass to be able to be stronger. I don't think I would be able to accomplish my kingdom assignment on this earth if I was the level of strength that I have in the spirit now, that I didn't have before. It just wasn't going to happen. Like I feel like I at first, and we all were going through the pandemic this year, right? And I ended up contracted the coronavirus back in March.
Wow.
And it was like, this was early in the like expansion of the virus, where most people didn't even know what it was and what it could do. So I was just thinking like, okay, I need to get stronger physically, to endure this battle. I'm going through it alone, right? My wife has at this point separated and moved back to her home city. So I'm mad that I'm going through it alone. I'm mad that I am feeling these emotions and I'm feeling weak. And I'm thinking, wow, I just need to get through fighting this virus and I need to go work out. No, the real battle, the real strength comes from spiritually being able to endure, from spiritually working out, from being able to be in that type of a position for the other battles that'll come, that I have to be ready for, that I have to be prepared for. So, to be able to go through those things and then realize that you need just as much spiritual and physical strength was mind blowing. And it didn't fathom my mind that I had to be able to be that strong, that I had to be able to endure like that.
Wow. So Desiree asked too in the chat, from a man's perspective, what is the most difficult part of standing? What is the most difficult part? I feel like you might have answered, but if you can go, if you could pick something that was the most difficult, if you could answer this question for her.
Yeah, I think the most difficult part is to keep going, because everything tells you that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Like everyone tells you that you shouldn't. All your human feelings tell you that you shouldn't, unless you really get a chance to see God and you search your heart.
Yeah.
I really felt like I got to the point where I didn't even want this anymore.
Wow.
I didn't even want to be married. I didn't even like, I was done. I was like, I'm over all this. And the fact that it got placed on my heart again was like, really, God? Like, really? I gotta go through this.
Yeah. So, and I want to ask this to everybody who was in the chat. Yeah.
From that standpoint, it was like, I'm fighting for this because his ways are higher than my ways. His thoughts are higher than my thoughts. And the fact that I have a true desire to be able to bring him glory through fighting for this. Okay, I'm down. Let's do this. Let's not just give in and just give up. And one of the things that's really pressed on me in this season is, what are you asking God for? Are you asking God for the hard thing? Or are you asking God for the easy thing? Because we all could ask him for the easy thing, but his glory can't be shown the same by asking for the easy thing. So if you're asking for the hard thing and you're diligently seeking him to get the hard thing done, I think that it is a whole nother level that you are unleashing in the physical realm.
There you go. So answers that question. Maddie, I think she asked the same question, somewhat around, how do you maintain a stand in the face of so much rejection? Would you say that your spouse, were you attempting to reconcile with her, and did she ever push you away and you just felt like, okay, maybe if I try again, maybe if I'm a little bit more sincere, if this, if that, if this, then that, how did you remain resilient through rejection? And did you have to deal with that type of rejection, first of all?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, my spouse, got to the point where she didn't even want like voice communication. Like it got that bad where it was like, you don't even want to talk. I can only email you. Okay. Wow. Like if that's what you're asking for, I'll give you that. But yeah, like that, the rejection is constant, and it does remind you that like you gotta really take your eyes off of that person, and take your feelings off of that person, because they're not in a place to be able to, be fair or, to value you as a person, and your contribution. So, the rejection is coming. You won't be rejected by God though. And that's the other thing that you have to pay attention to. The more you seek him, the more he'll embrace you. And you're not even seeking their approval, or you're not even seeking for the whatever you're missing from the rejection that you're feeling. So it was so important for me to recognize that, because in the beginning you could not tell me that. Like, I'm checking everything. I'm checking social media. I'm checking your family. I mean, I'm trying to check in. I'm trying to make sure you're okay. I am not God. I cannot save nobody. I can't intervene in situations omnipresent like he does. So it's like, cool. I have to put it in his hands. And that's one of the things I have to thank Nicole for, because she really did break down, like, you don't want to get in the way. If God is, leading it in the direction of saying that this separation has to happen, or, even, that the outcomes for now have to happen the way that they do, it is what it is. And you allow God to do what he's going to do. And at that point, it was easier for me to understand that I should be out of the way, rather than trying to save this myself, or trying to do this myself, or trying to figure this out for God myself, which I cannot do. So for that standpoint, I'm thankful that I kind of was able to come around and not have to try to exert my own power, because there's no match.
Right. Okay. So let me see. Let me find it. If you guys have any more questions for David, go ahead, throw it in there. I've got one from one of our brothers in the chat. This from Block Hugger 706. Says, David, do you guys have kids together? Me and my wife have 3 daughters.
We do not have kids. So that's one of the things that I think for folks that do have kids, you still have that connection there with your spouse, even if they're not there. That will not fade away. I think my situation is a little bit different. It actually, in my mind, makes it easier for someone to say, that it's worth just like walking away and not returning, or not really thinking back on the value of what the true relationship could have and what it could do for the kingdom of God, rather than the different seeds that can come through that as well. But I want to shout out all the people that do have kids, because you have an everlasting connection with that person that will not be removed.
Yeah. Yep. So I hope Black Hugger 706, my guy, hopefully that David answered these questions for you. Everybody's talking in the chat and they're coming to some realizations. Desiree says that it's interesting to hear men's perspective, because even though in the flesh we function or operate differently than men, it's not that much different in the spirit. The fight.
There you go. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Black Hugger says, Christ understands he was rejected more than us, so that we can be accepted by the Father. That we can be accepted. He was rejected. I mean, his own friends, his own brothers, his own disciples. Like, what? Come on.
Yeah. His own people.
His own people.
And one of the things that I always focus on is the fact that God is very clear in saying that they are rejecting me as your father. They are not rejecting you. So the Bible's reminding us not to take it personally, that there is a way bigger battle and that's bigger than you, rather than you trying to take on those feelings and that rejection. It's really a battle between them and God.
There you go. So there you go, guys. Okay, if you guys don't have any more questions for David, I have a question. I have my last. So I always end this with the fellas. Put them on a spot. Becoming a husband, a leader, marriage minded, regardless of how this goes between you and your spouse. What are three qualities of a good man, of a man who's trying to be a good husband, a good leader, a good provider? What are three qualities of that man?
I focus on some of the things that I've learned just through this process. As God is calling us to be able to walk in our assignments, the same way Adam had to walk in his assignment when he was assigned by God to do things in the garden. We got to be able to do those same things on earth. And so I think your assignment is a really big part of, the quality of a man.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know that. You got to be able to seek that in that process. That's really important. Men do provide. We are providers by nature, protectors by nature. I think it's so important for us to recognize those moments when we have to be able to protect and provide in spite of the different things that have hindered us in the past. Dealing with trauma, dealing with some of those things that we don't talk about as often, that are always looming in our mind, things that we forgot about. I've remembered the attacks that were on me as a child that I literally buried.
Wow.
Through this process.
Wow.
And really, that's why I really thank you for just exemplifying how much focus it really is on you as a person through this process, rather than feeling like, it's all your spouse or it's all the marriage, when at the end of the day, the real journey is about you. So I think, the quality of your assignment, the quality of protecting and providing, and then, for men, we all, I believe, at one point you might be okay with just taking the easy route out, and you might want to just do your own thing, but at the end of the day, you want to be able to be a warrior in the spirit, right? You got to be able to fight on this battlefield for God, and if you are not willing, able, and ready to do that, it does say a lot about just where you are in your walk with God. So you got to be able to war. You got to be able to war. The people of Israel, the children of Israel, after the last generation died off, had to be prepared for war. And God literally said, like, I have to prepare you guys. And if it's the wrong enemies, it might get you down too much. So let me prepare you as children to take on enemies that I know that you'll be able to take on right away, and then I'll build you up. But I need you to be warriors. That's what God needs us to do, especially in these times, especially at where the enemy is just on the attack like no other, because he knows his time is running out. So for that standpoint, I think it's just really important for us not to lose sight of that. We can't be weak anymore in the spirit, but strong physically, and so much more confidence and trust in our possessions rather than what God is doing, what he has for us in the spirit. So we got to find that balance.
Yeah, we do. And Desiree asked in the chat, what are three qualities that you thought made a good man, before your stand. So you said you had to bury some things that you picked up from your upbringing. She said she asked for 3. If you could come up with 1, but if you can come up with 3, that'd be great. What was something that you picked up but you had to let go sake of your marriage?
Yeah, I mean, it's not about money. It's not about material things. It's not about likes on Instagram. Like, I think we've glorified just being married. Like, amazing, beautiful Black folks smiling in the islands on vacation. Like, that looks really good and it looks fun. But the real strength, the real tenacity and endurance comes from fire. Let's be real. It is tried by fire. And if you cannot make it through that, those are just pictures at the end of the day that will be replaced and changed with somebody else.
You're right.
That is not really walking in their kingdom assignment. So, you know, yes, we do deserve vacations, and we deserve the chance to be able to have this fulfilling, amazing life. But if you think you are going to get through serving God without trials and tribulations, and somebody that is going to go 2 by 2 with you because they know that they are assigned to give glory to God with this person, you know, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth those superficial facades of happiness and marriage. So I definitely would caution anybody that gets so tied up into those things. And it's not perfection either. So I had to let go of that too. Being influenced as a perfectionist and trying to do everything right and have everything look good. It is okay for things to for mistakes to happen. It is okay for grace to be abound, right? For all of the things that we fall short on. You know, you learn from those rather than feeling like you know, that all is lost because it doesn't look a certain way or it isn't perfect. And you're trying to, you know, again, put on an image that everything is fine and everything is good. And I remember being in that place where it was hard for me to fathom how bad she felt like things were, and to, you know, be able to reckon with the fact that there are things that I need to do as a husband to be able to be there for my wife in ways where I wasn't used to doing that before, and making those adjustments for somebody else. That's those things are important, but it's okay to make mistakes, and I can't beat myself up and condemn myself because I haven't been able to do those things perfectly either. We're both learning through this process. We just need to trust God more than the physical things that are coming up against us, in the spirit. So listen, I'm just thankful that I had a chance for the trial itself, because if I didn't, you know, I'd still be in that position of feeling like everything's fine, everything looks perfect, so it must be perfect, it must be good. But it wasn't going to take me towards my assignment. It wasn't going to take me in this direction of being on fire for God. And I would not lose this fire. I would not lose this presence for anything in the world.
Right, Joe. If that, and you know, if that answers the question, I mean, that was an excellent, it was an exemplary answer. I mean, just my goodness, because these women are seeing the wisdom. They said they hear it in your voice. They're like, this brother's got something on him. Like, they don't know you that well. So before you came up here, I was telling them, I'm like, y'all may know him if y'all follow politics. And they're like, oh, you know, who is this man? Officially, what is it that you do? I know you're a state representative. What state are you representing for?
So I'm in Wisconsin. So I definitely serve in state level politics here. And it's so funny because especially in a field like politics, where you're in the public eye and stuff like that, you never get a chance to be this vulnerable, or to for it to be acceptable that you would go through a challenge like this. In that sense, you're just supposed to be able to be like all smiles and, and kiss babies and you know, and help people get through, you know, stuff in the community. But at the end of the day, Like, this is the real fire that we all have to deal with. And, you know, I've been able to push in the spirit harder than I ever know myself to do before. And the gifts that God has given me, my God, have been amazing to be able to impact more people, more than just the physical. So I'm thankful that I get a chance to serve in leadership and do things in the community. But this is a whole nother level of being able to contribute. So, you know, that's when I really do, I lift up voices like yours, voices like the other. It's so, like you said, there's so many women that are out there with platforms, and I hope to join you in building a platform too. But it's just, I thank you guys for leading the way, and you guys are stepping in the gap like no other at a time when, you know, it might be that one encouraging word that might stop us from doing something that we should not be doing.
Whole families can be saved with just a few words. Like,
man, listen,
men talk about, I'm thinking about doing it. We tell them, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do it, or go home. Hold on. Be patient. Like, these are the things you got to do, because we just don't see. We don't see it. We don't see the way out. And you know, it's unfortunate that for a lot of men, this is where, I mean, they believe that they have no other choice. They believe that, you know, in the arms of another woman or chasing after their own dreams while forsaking their own family, they think that they're going to make it that way. And for a lot of those men, they do get there. But what is it? What did it cost? You know, what did it cost in order for you to have that? And, you know, you really feel secure with those things. But there's also got to be, you know, conversations that men who are fighting for our marriages, some of us are dealing with, will have to deal with a spouse. Even if she doesn't want to leave, we have to then deal with internally what's going on between us, why we're not communicating, why we don't pray a little bit more with each other. Like you said, we're trying, as one side trying to put on for social media while the other side is feeling like they're being rejected or forgotten. It's just like, there's a lot of conversation. There just is. There's a lot of conversation. Right now, the world is so, men are this way, women are that way, and all we do is clash. You know, and the world is becoming so much bigger. You know, and on my channel, I say, I'm constantly going to say it, the gender war is over. It's over. Not because of men have won and women have lost or vice versa. It is, if we're going to do this thing right, everybody's going to be used to our maximum purpose and our holy assignment, then we have to be able to not only talk, but we have to be able to listen to each other.
Right.
Understand where everybody's coming from, and not just hearing the grievances. Let's talk about the things that empower us. What empowers us when we're in a relationship? Like, what did you feel when you saw your spouse coming down the aisle? What did you feel when that man dropped down to his knee and asked you to be his wife? What did you feel? Like, you can have kids, but that just makes you a parent, you know? Like, what makes you a father? What makes you a mother? You wanted to do something. You saw something for those children. And yes, they will learn and become their own people, but you have a purpose for them, an assignment for them, an expectation of them, a standard of living for them that you work your butt off to provide. I think the same thing happens in a relationship. I think you want to teach, you want to show, you want to impart, you want to pay it forward with this other person in your life. And you don't see, when you're married, you don't see divorce. You see down the line, like, okay, we might have kids, we might get older, we might retire, we'll live somewhere in the Bahamas or something like that, we'll live on a boat or whatever like that. That's what you want. So I said, this space needs to be for marriage-minded people, because the whole world is telling us we're crazy. And what kind of, bizarro world where being married to the person that you saw all this with, you're crazy. That's insane. I thought that was the dream. I thought that's what we wanted. How are we now crazy? And it happened. It's so funny that I would never have thought this would have happened in my lifetime. Like, I would have never seen like pro-marriage from the 80s, pro-marriage in the 90s, and then somewhere in the 2000s, it was just like, no, not marriage. You're silly. We need to be roommates.
Right. But you know what's interesting too? It's also the rise of individualism and like the rise of like you can do everything on your own, you don't need anybody, and cancel culture. So like on top of it, you can just throw people away. Like this is like a throwaway society now, rather than being able to use the same grace that you believe in a God that has the chance to be able to save and wash you with water to sanctify you. They can sanctify other people in your life too. And so it's important for us to be able to recognize it is okay to walk 2 by 2 on this earth, as it says in the Bible, that it is okay to be able to war in the spirit on their behalf when you know that it is more than what they are dealing with or what you see physically. It's more of what you know and can sense what is happening in the spirit spiritually. You know, that's why we are seen as crazy now all of a sudden, because we're believing in something a lot more, and we're not just giving into just how things physically seem in the physical realm, because that's all this earth, as all this world is glorifying.
Wow. And you know what? This is powerful words, man. So this has been, like I said, it's been eye-opening. Not only for me, because like I said, talking is one thing, but being able to hear somebody, that's better. I like that. That's better. This has been eye-opening for the women because, you know, the women understand their position, and just to see a man in his position, it's just like they blah, it blows their mind because, and, you know, from their perspective, men we get to move about the world any kind of way we want. Certain men do. You know, that's just how it is. They just really don't care. But there are certain men who know, like, that's not for me. So it's not every man. And I know that's not for me. And here's why. So I feel like these things are all very powerful things. And I want to say thank you for, you know, catching up with me on here, imparting that wisdom and that knowledge and this insight, because I know that we're blessed with this, that we've been blessed with this information. And again, I said thank you. For the ladies that are up here, I don't know if you guys had any more questions for Brother David before I let him off the panel. These women.
Yeah, but shouts out to all the women fighting in the spirit for their marriages, for sure. I know sometimes they feel like it's just them. They should definitely know it's not just them. There are brothers that are out here fighting too.
Right on. Okay, so Brother David, so that'll wrap it up, brother. And thank you so much for being here, bro. And so I'll let you back down. I don't know if you'll still be in the chat or whatever, whatnot. But
yeah, I'll be in the chat.
Oh
hey,
yeah,
man, just thank you for being there for me.
Yes,
when I needed you.
And when you get that channel going, let everybody know. I don't care who it is. Like, you know, we got to spread the word. I said to everyone who creates their own platform, YouTube is free. All you got to do is put in the time, put in the effort. Or just, you know, just simply hit the record button, hit the upload button, get out there, make this thing normal, because there needs to be more channels. It needs to be more than just Loc'd Pop. There needs to be a David Bowen. There needs to be a Block Huggers. There needs to be a James Allen. We need to be out there because we have seen the examples of men who are in our position, and we've been inspired in one way or another. And they're carrying the torch, but we got to get ready to pick it up, because there's going to be brothers behind us who are going to they're going to have to deal with the women that are coming up now, and may the Lord be with them, because they got some things going on. The fight, you know, what is it? TD Jake says, if you win one fight, your reward is another fight. That's what's coming. There you go. This is the way we have to keep it going, you guys. Okay, David, thank you very much, bro.
All right. Appreciate you, brother.
All right. Woo-wee. I said 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. So for every believer that's out there, may I say amen, because it is 1:32 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Amen. Block Huggers is still out there. Good grief. What are we doing out here? What are we doing out here? Block Huggers, if you're out there, I didn't even know what time it was. Right. We out here talking. My kids are so going to snitch on me tomorrow morning. And I know this. They're going to go to their mom and say, Dad was up all day on the computer. Block Hugger said I needed this. Block Huggers, I'm going to send, right. Don't. Yeah, I said 10 to 11. What am I doing? Oh dear God. I can, and I have to go to work too. I can feel it. Oh gosh, here we go. I'm not gonna stop yet. Block huggers, I want you on the panel, bro. I gotta post the invite because I want all my brothers, and I want y'all to know we done picked up our Spanish brothers, our African American brothers. Maddie's here, Loria, Shera somewhere. I want to click the link for you, block huggers, because I want you to come up on the panel and really share your experience. I know you said that you have been standing for your divorce. I mean, standing for your marriage. Look at Marie, Mary, Marie. I'm gonna say Marie. God bless you. Well, God bless you too, sweetie, and thank you for catching the live stream. Let me see. Hey, this is the midnight hour. He's in our midst. You already know. God knows we needed it here tonight. Shera says I'm here. I thank you, Shera. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. This is insane. I said, well, we had 6 people. I was like, if we get to 12, that was great. Well, we got to 12 people. I mean, it's 11 now, but we got to 12, and it's like 1:30 in the morning. And God is good. I need to listen to replay. It will I'll leave it up here. It's, I got the introductory version of StreamYard here, which is another way for saying free. And so I can't really upload it anywhere else besides here. So it's 5:30 p.m. Tuesday over there. Okay, see, look at that. Marie, where you calling from? What do you mean 5:30 p.m. where? Let me know. Let me know in the chat, where are you calling from? Marie says it was good. Block huggers, I don't know if you got the invite, but I wanted to bring you up on the panel. If not, if there's no other men in the chat, I will Melbourne, Australia. Y'all. We over all the way in Australia. Oh, we got him in here, y'all. So let me bring up our brother. I think this will be our last one for the night, but I'm gonna bring my boy up and let's get to hearing his story. So let me bring you up here.
Hey, what's good, bro? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. I can see you real good too, and thank you for coming up here. So let me remove this comment here right quick. If you ladies have any questions you want to pose, we're gonna hear block huggers. What's your first name? I don't want to keep saying block huggers, even though I know,
cool.
You're welcome, bro. He done dropped off the panel. What happened? Come back. No, come back. What happened? Susie M, thank you for sharing the word. Prayers to you and your family. You're very welcome. Where did he go? Come back, bro. Okay, I'm adding you back. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, man. My bad.
All right. So what's your first name? So everybody knows.
I go Elias.
Elias?
Yeah,
How you spell?
yep.
Elias.
Elias.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elias. Yep.
All right, cool.
Man, I appreciate you brothers for doing this, bro. Yeah, I'm at the crib by myself, man. It's Christmas holiday. My kids is at my wife's apartment. Like I said, we separated right now. So yeah, I was just on YouTube, just binging. and I said, oh, my dude is on.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Because I remember, we chopped it up on IG a while ago.
Yeah.
Now, I seen some of your videos. It's like, man, because, bro, I'm gonna start. And this is a question I have for you too, man. It's like, I've been thinking about doing a video about my stand and separation, but how did you know when it was time? Because you still want to respect your wife and the other party, and I don't want it to be like, yo, what are you doing? Putting this and this, but it's that's the reality of the nature of separation. For me, just to be honest, like my wife, she left me. What I'm saying? Was it like 3 weeks ago? She came home for work, sitting down. She's on the recliner. I was massaging her feet, talking to her, how's her day? And she looked me in the eyes and she was just like, to be honest, and this is another thing we could talk about too. She was like, this whole I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. Like, we've been doing this. So January goes, we've been married 18 years. We got 3 children. We've been knowing each other since we were jits in the hood, man. Grew up together, 16 years old, 17 years old. We got married mad young. I was like we was in our early 20s when we got married, but we didn't know each other since we were kids. And we both come from broken homes, no father, sex before marriage and all that. And I think a lot of our daddy issues and baggage that we had when we got married, none of us were believers. And then I got saved. God radically transformed my life. And my wife is African American. I'm Latino and Middle Eastern. And we both grew up in the hood. And she grew up in church. My wife grew up in a black church. And so I thought she was already a Christian, but I was radically saved. Like I was clubbing, get high, just living a ratchet lifestyle. And so I'm thinking, okay, she's Christian too. And I'm a new believer. We get married. And people think that when you get married, that your problems will go away. Yeah, you just get married. We won't have, we can have sex now. It's not, we're under God. And but all marriage did was just expose all the dirt that we already had. A lot of the mistrust. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, but in our first year of marriage, man, I committed adultery. It's this whole, this is another thing we can talk about. Is this whole, I don't feel happy in marriage anymore. I don't believe that crap anymore. Like, I don't feel happy, so you're not loving me anymore. So I went back into the world. I started going to the club. Our first year of marriage, and I just became a believer. I didn't have discipleship. Remind you, I grew up in the hood. I didn't grow up in church, and so I had no brothers discipling me what a marriage looks like. I didn't have a father, so not blaming that. I take full responsibility. I confessed to her. I repented of that. And then as I was growing in the Lord, I finally found a solid church. And man, I just radically was growing in my manhood and parenting. We started having our kids. And then I started to just see, like, we started to have a lot of health issues, both me and my wife. I was born with a heart condition. And and then her father died. And when, trials also exposes whether you believe in God or you're going to run from God. It could either make you bitter or better.
Yeah.
And so what it does, I felt like we were both holding hands together as trials were coming, but we was running apart from one another. I was saying, babe, I know it's hard. Let's keep running to the cross. And she was running to the world. I'm like, what's going on? I thought, we was in church together and everything. And I couldn't understand. And I would blame, like, so I seen a sister earlier said, it's true. It's like we start to blame the spouse, and God started to confront me in areas where I need to grow. A lot of my mistrust, a lot of insecurities as a teenager that we had when we was growing up, because we had sex before marriage. We cheated when we was younger, and so God was growing me, bro, like crazy. And I took my eyes off of her. Of course, we worked it out. We're trying to work it out, and then father died, and then I had some more health issues in 2016, 17. I had a pacemaker put in, almost died, and I went through a lot, bro. And you think those trials will bring us tighter, and what I noticed is, so let me say this: I noticed that it was hard for my wife to be very transparent with issues that we all, we're all broken sinners, right? And so it's like, things I would try to talk to her and communicate with her about her past, and even talk about, daddy issues with her and stuff like that. Do you have that? Let's talk about those. Let's get counseling and stuff. And we did go to counseling for a while, but even eventually she even ran from that. And so it's just like, man. And so it's hard when you have a spouse, when you have a marriage that only one spouse wants to fight it out. Like it ain't gonna work. And so to be honest, man, and I still want my marriage. Like, I love my wife to death. And it's not, now I know ultimately the beauty of saving your marriage is not ultimately it's not for the kids. It's not even for us. I'm learning that it's protecting the shadow of the gospel, bro. Like that's the beauty of the reason why I want this mug to work. Is just, it's a picture of what Paul says in Ephesians 5, that husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church. And what I was sharing in the chat earlier is that, man, I've learned so much about love. Let's be honest. We all say we love our spouses, right? Right. We love them. bro, we don't really love our spouses, bro. Like, this is how you know you love your bro. When your wife comes to you from work or you come home from work and your spouse looks you in the eyes and tell you she don't love you anymore after 20 or 18 years and says, I don't want you anymore, I'm going to get an apartment and leave, do you still love your spouse then? God is teaching me the whole Hosea and Gomer situation, bro. Like, I'm learning, like, yo, and this is the crazy part, y'all. Those who listen to this, 2 weeks ago, my wife just had open heart surgery. Tell me God don't have a sense of humor, bro. She started to have a leaky valve in her chest, in her heart. She had to have emergency open heart surgery. So now God is saying, look, you have a beautiful platform to love your spouse ferociously because she can't do anything right now, bro. But this is how crazy it is. Like, she's still running. Like, even in the, this is how wicked we are, bro. And I'm not dissing my wife. I love her. I'm just saying in general, as humans, like, bro, we're so wicked when we're so broken. Like, she's running. Ultimately, I know she's running from the Lord, but like, I'm saying, look, come back home. I want to serve you. I even told her this, bro. I said, look, I know what we're going through. Hey, because now that you had the surgery, I'll take care of you. I'll sleep on the couch. You sleep in our bed, and I'll take care of you until you get restored and get recovered. And she's like, nah, I'm going to just stay, in my mama's house, and then I'm going to get my apartment. And so that's what I'm going through, bro. Like, yeah, we've been, as a matter of fact, January 10th, it'll be 18 years we've been married. We got a 17-year-old girl.
Wow.
We got three daughters, 17, 12, and 8, all girls.
Yeah. And
so, yeah, I'm for any men who are watching this or watch this later, man, stand up, especially as minorities, bro. Like, we have to show that Black and brown men are fighting for their wives, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's beautiful to see, man. All the dudes I grew up in my hood, and even my uncles, and I didn't grow up with a father, was always the abuser, was always the cheater, was always the manipulator, was always the porn addict. And I'm not saying that, of course, there's redemption for all that too. But I'm saying is we need to start showing a better picture of the beauty of Christian men who love their spouses ferociously, bro, because it's a picture of Christ. You know what I'm saying? One of the scriptures that God been rocking me about is when he says, I think it's in Romans, it says, basically, God loved us when we were yet sinners. Christ died for us, right? Christ died for the ungodly. I think it's Romans 5. So you take that practical text and say, okay, God loved me, not when I was in church, not when I was getting my act together. God loved me when I was ungodly. And couple that with Paul in Ephesians 5, husbands, love your wives as Christ of the church. So my wife is named Keisha. I'm to love my wife even when she spits in my face, bro.
Yeah.
Even when she says, I don't want you sexually anymore. I don't want you this no more. I don't want you no more. Bro, you think about Hosea and Gomer, bro, like she kept on cheating on that dude. And he kept on pursuing her. And we know that's a picture of God of Israel, but it's also a reflection of Christ in the church. It's like, and man, and people already been asking me, man, like, how long you going to stand? This and this and that. What are you doing? And it's, y'all pray for me because, you start to have those thoughts about divorce. If she doesn't get, because to be honest, I think my wife apostatized. Like, I don't think my wife is truly a believer. So glory to, okay, he's writing something. But yeah, man. So I think ultimately this is my number one prayer now. Like, I pray. Do I want my marriage? Of course I do. But ultimately, I want to see a salvific work done in my wife's heart. Because if my marriage never works, I want her to know Jesus. Because that's the only man that can love her like I can't even love her.
No, you can't.
Only Jesus. Because you gotta look at it. If she's broken, like we all broken, and if she's, because a lot of times, let's be honest, if we really peel back the onion on a lot of these marriage problems, a lot of it, my boy BJ Thompson says this. He says a lot of these marriage problems were single problems. We never dealt with the baggage and the brokenness and the trauma, the sexual perversion, the pornography, the daddy abuse, and we go into these relationships thinking, oh, Elias is going to heal me. He's going to be my hero, or vice versa. Oh, I'm sexually abused, or my wife is going to be my hero. And my boy BJ says this. He says this up. He said, it's time for spouses to take the cape off of them and put it back on Jesus. Because we make our spouse idols, bro. And I was doing that for God has shown me in this last few months, man, even as a believer, bro, I have idolized my wife, bro. Like to the point where, man, it was sin. I had to repent. Like, do I love my wife? Of course I do. But to the point where, man, if she like one of your biggest fear, right? My biggest fear, if she leaves me, it's how would I look in public, or how would my kids look at daddy, or how would it like? It was all these idols.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's tough.
But
That's tough.
but this is the thing. God shows us, bro. I'll pray this minister to somebody tonight. You are fully accepted in God through Christ. God has Jesus took the wrath of the Father so that we could be accepted. That's why I said earlier, it's like Christ was abandoned, rejected so that we could be accepted, bro. Yep. So I have everything. If Keisha never comes back to me again, I'm fully loved, I'm fully accepted, I'm fully forgiven. Bro, that reality is making me love her unconditionally. Because let's be honest, most of us love our spouses based off performance. She acts right, I love her. She starts to act up, it's like it's works-based love. And I was doing that, and it was predicated on, is she reading a Bible enough? If she comes to church, man, she's not coming to church, man. I start getting angry. And it's like God has shown me a lot of my self-righteousness, a lot of my lack of love. And I'm just ferociously, man, like even today, just practically, man, like she's at the apartment with my kids, and I just, oh babe, I just made a turkey burger and some onion rings. You want me to serve you? She's like, nah, I'm cool. Like just still killing it with kindness, bro.
Yeah.
Like the Bible says, soft word turns around anger, bro. And then eventually, hopefully, man, like she would see the love of Christ, man. And yeah, so that's kind of my story, man. I just want to share that, and hopefully it encourages.
Yeah.
So what about you, man? Like, I never really got the full scoop. So you and your wife reconciled? I never watched the other.
Yeah. We reconciled, man. I mean, yeah, we have our wedding vow renewal date set for August 28th, 2021. Yeah, it was big, and now we're going at it a lot harder than we did when we first got married. When we first got married, we were in our early 20s. We didn't have a lot of money. I think we were talking big, and we were spending all this money, and we were gonna do things, and then we got to literally like 2 weeks before the wedding, and I think my wife had her wedding dress. That's the only thing we had. Like, wait, what? So we had to call in family, friends, co-workers, our bosses came. I mean, everybody came together, and we created a wedding, and we tried to enjoy it as best we could, and go before God, and we set our own altar, our own vows to one another. But it wasn't until about 2 years after that my wife told me that sucked. She let me know, like, there was so much. I think my mother got robbed like the same day. Somebody from church literally robbed my mother. Like, it was crazy. It was pretty bad. We almost got into a fight with one of the bridesmaids. It was insane. Like, I could not believe how much stuff was going on. But either way, we said that's not going to happen this time. Obviously, it's not going to happen. We're older now. We definitely make more money. We have better connects, and we just decided to just do things on a more simpler tone. Like, this needs to be centered around God. The group of people that we are with are people who believe not only in us, but they believe in the covenant of a marriage. They hold us to a standard. They hold us to a more. her friends and my friends, they inquire about their friend, about me and about her, but they inquire about the other side. Hey, you know, Ty, how's Tiffany? Hey, Tiffany, how's Tyree? How are the girls? You know, it wasn't girls' night, boys' night. Don't talk to her about this. Don't talk to him about that. And you know, girl, I wouldn't do this. And brother, you need to try this or whatever like that. It wasn't a whole bunch of that. It was, you guys are together.
That's beautiful, man.
And we have 3 daughters too. I have 3 daughters. One 13-year-old and a 6-year-old. And our girls have really done well with all of what's happening. And we knew that one way to pay them back for what's happening too is that we included them in our counseling. We've gone to a marriage counselor. We've been seeing our marriage counselor it's been 6 months now. And we take the girls too, because we also understand that standing for your marriage, pending divorce, this doesn't just affect the parents. This affects children.
Of course.
My wife is from a family that had a divorce, and she was 6 years old. And to this day, she can remember like it was yesterday, the day her dad left, the argument that he finally said, "That's enough." She remembers that day, and she wanted to go with him, and she couldn't.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Because you know, and people think it. I mean, so the like, but the day after, the 2 days after, man. So my wife started going to her mama house, and so the kids was with me, and she was like, "Daddy, like, why mommy keep on going to Nana house?" And so I texted, I was like, "Hey, babe, like, hey, we need to sit the kids down and let them know your decision. Like, this is your decision. We did not agree to. I don't agree with you leaving. Like, I want you. Let's work on this marriage." And so the next day or two, and then she came over, you know, we sat down and started to talk again, and then we had the kids sitting right here in the living room in the house, and bro, that's one of the hardest things I have to do, bro, to my kid. Like, I had to tell them, like, no, first I let her, you know, let my wife explain. You know what I'm saying? And you can even tell, like, she didn't say all of it at that time, because you got to remember, like, who wants to feel the blow of that guilt of telling the truth?
Yeah.
And so I had to say, you know what I'm saying? So I had to, and I'm not trying to be mean. And I said, I looked my wife in the eyes and said, "Babe, no, the reason why you are leaving is because you're no longer in love with me anymore. With my kids in the living room, and you said that you don't want this marriage anymore." I said, "Isn't that the truth?" I looked at her, and she says, "Yes, that's what I said." And she got up and walked out. And so, man, like, it's holding her to like, this is what you said. Don't try to lessen the blow. Like, you need to feel, in a sense, you need to feel that conviction. Like, you are. And this is another thing we need to talk about, bro. This is gonna be a long conversation. We need to do some more videos about this. Is that people think that men cannot be abandoned. I told my wife, I said, "You're abandoning me." A lot of times you think about women being abandoned, right? But like, yo, you're abandoning me emotionally, sexually. You're abandoning me spiritually. You're like, yo, you leave, like, literally leaving. And so just because men are masculine doesn't mean they can't be hurt and abandoned from their spouses. And she's like, "I don't see it." She was like, "I don't see it like that, you know." I said, "Babe, when you think about abandonment, you're thinking abuse. Like, I'm not saying you're abusing me, but I'm saying you are neglecting the covenant. It's sin. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because marriage gets hard, that doesn't mean you cop out. Like, bro, when we stood on that altar, you know, all of us have been married. When you stood on that altar, I don't care how young you were, and when you said these words, you said, you know, "In sickness and in health, for rich or for poor, for better or for worse," right? You know, "to death do us part." And I said, that's not so much a feeling. What we're saying is, I vow to commit to you to these vows. You know how many people lied because they not live by that? Like, so because now sickness is coming, you know what I'm saying? Health is coming, sick or worse for worse. Now you want to leave. It's like, no, we vowed to fight this mug out. And I think many people, bro, they have this faulty expectation of what marriage is. Most of our marriages we get from MTV, BT. We get our sexuality from porn. And so we, especially those who grew up in broken homes in the urban context, like I did, we have these fantasy type marriages and relationships. And when we really get into marriage, we want the we want the image of marriage, but we don't want the covenant commitment of marriage.
Yeah.
Let me run that mug back again for those who listen. We want the image, like you said earlier. We want the IG likes. We want the bathing suit. You with your shirt off on Bahamas with your wife, drinking a margarita. Hey, we happy, baby. But we don't want the crying with tears, holding on each other, asking for forgiveness. Please forgive me. I have sinned against you, and receiving the forgiveness, and vice versa. Like, the number one thing that I think when people say that marriage don't work, marriage works, bro. It's designed to do what it's supposed to do, to expose who you really are. And people says, I said this, like, man, you changed on me. No, your spouse ain't changed on you. That's just the person who they really are. It's just when we come together, when you first get with somebody, you play a front. You whether it's physically or saying like, you hide this front, but when you really get in the grit and you live with somebody, you get to see all the skeletons, both. And I'm gonna be quick to say again, man, like, I was very immature as a young dude, bro. Very passive. Again, grew up in the hood. I didn't have a father. You know what I'm saying? Always wanted to hang out with the boys and and all that. And God showed me, even that communication, like our communication, even though I talked a lot, you can see now, like I still would hide deep issues because I had daddy issues myself, and I would try to like mask it and just I don't know, just mask it up and try to talk about other things. And then for my wife to do the same, like it was always surfacey, man. And so that's where we at. Anybody got any questions, man? I would love to.
I do have one from Loria. Well, actually, she's got two. She said, "Did you resent her? Did you feel she deserved to be sick because she hurt you?"
Nah, I don't think I did. I don't think I felt like she deserved to be sick. Nah, like, man, I was at the hospital, you know what I'm saying, weeping with her. I'm gonna just keep it 100. Like, now, my flesh, like, anyone can say, you think about this. If your spouse tells you they don't want you, right? Your flesh, our flesh is wicked. Like, I could have been like, nah, man, like, yo, let your mama be up there with you and hang out with you. Like, you left me. But man, by the grace of the Holy Spirit, God had prepared me, man, like, even for my past failure. When I shared earlier in the beginning of this, I failed in my first year of marriage, and he showed me the consequences of falling into sin. Like, going to get another person is not going to fix the problem. Like, going to another outlet, whether it's sexual outlet or just another relationship, the enemy may paint a picture like, yo, the grass is green on the other side, but like, it brings so much strife. And I think, to be honest, I think, because she said she forgave me for a lot of the stuff that I have done, but I think, and this is where couples have to be honest with one another and transparent, even if it hurts, even if you're crying when you're talking to one another. I would rather, this is what I desire. I would rather her come home whenever and be like, yo, this is what I feel. I hate you. You did this when we was this. You did this. You slept with so and so. You was doing this. You broke my. I'd rather you be 100% raw with me and cry together and hold it, because I promise you that type of talk will eventually bring restoration. You'll be stronger than ever. Then front like everything is okay. And now this is the problem. I think, to be 100% honest, I don't think she's ever truly forgiven me for the adultery and those things that I did in the past. She says she did. But you think about this. What would make a person just say, hey, I'm fed up? I just can't. Because sometimes those things don't surface until later on later in your marriage, where a trial comes and you start to think about, man, this dude don't love me. He did this to me, and I'm hurt, and I'm hurt, and I'm hurt. But I literally, in counseling, told my wife, I looked her in the eyes and I said, babe, be honest. Like, And I even asked her forgiveness, and I said, "Babe, I'm sorry. Like, if you don't think I mean, I truly have never went back. I repented. Do you forgive me?" And she said, "Yeah." So on my radar, she said she forgive me, but like, I don't know. That's between her and the Lord. You know what I'm saying? But I do wonder what would make her, his spouse just pull back like that. People could, um, she said communication. Yeah, I've tried to talk to her and talk and be honest with her, and I share my struggles with her and stuff like that. Yeah. So, any other questions? Go ahead, bro.
Well,
You
I
have
mean,
anything?
like, I wanted to comment a little bit about what you had said. Is like, some of the things that you say that you're doing, as far as speaking to your wife, is that you've apologized, you've taken in what you've done, you've taken accountability for it. You have told her that you're sorry and that you are seeking her forgiveness. She's given it to you, but I think this is something that us men have to understand too, is that when we seek forgiveness, even when it is given to us,
Mm-hmm.
the women who accept, who choose to forgive, they literally have to let go of their pain, and it
Mm.
forces them to deal with the feeling and the emotion. That's why she can come to you and say, "I don't love you," because she has to really deal with the impact of what happened to her. She has to deal with that trauma in order to forgive you. So she said, "I can," but see, we don't truly understand what that road to forgiveness looks like.
Yeah,
Once,
that's deep, man.
once
Break that down. Break that down.
once you claim that road of forgiveness, it's really tough for these women, especially if they've, like you said, you've known her at a young age. She hasn't really spent a lot of time away from you, being by herself or trying to figure out how does she handle certain things. Because, like I said, cheating, infidelity, whether it be with a person or with a thing, with an activity, a job, whatever the case may be, these things are traumatic because no one wants to feel like we're alone. And when we feel
Amen.
like we are alone, and then we come from an unhealthy background of abandoning or being abandoned and rejecting, we leave the door open. We leave door open for our spirit to be devoured in earthly things. And
Mm.
that's what happens. And so, she right now, we pray for her because she's struggling with something. She hasn't decided, I never want my husband again. I'm struggling with this feeling. So all we do is just pray for her to find, for the Lord to allow her to experience what she's going through, understand that she still has worth, she still has value,
Amen.
and that, yes, it is scary because she will never truly know if it's safe with you or not. And this is something that she has to walk with God on. The only thing that you can do, the best thing you can do as your husband, is like what you said you were doing. Keep repeat it as many times as it takes. I'm here. I wasn't there before. I was wrong.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And can you forgive me? And then what you do with that woman is you hold her. You just hold her. Like, don't expect nothing back. She may not want to talk. Okay, I'm not cool with that. Whatever the case may be, it's fine, because the day will come where I didn't think my wife would ever care about me like that again. And
Mm.
she came to me and she rested my shoulders, bro. She sleep like a baby because I was just so used to when she finally told me the truth, and when I finally told her the truth about things, we was gone. We were like, no, we can't deal with this. No, this is too much. And you were absolutely right about having that moment. That the raw needs to come out. It has to, because otherwise it's like mold, underneath the paint. It just ruins the foundation. And
And
as things
mm.
look at the surface, you're just destroying. It just has to be destroyed. This is why it's important. And this is where they're solidified. This is where the foundation is built, because it done got ugly.
Yeah,
And
I'll even say this too for for spouses that are listening and then standing, is that, and I even asked the Lord to help me, is to be prepared for when she is ready to be raw,
Mhm.
for whatever she says. It may be, to be honest, like maybe she committed adultery and I never knew about it.
Mhm.
And she's just scared to tell me. Maybe she has a porn addiction that, it could be something that she's hiding, right? Or just something broken. And be willing. This is how the gospel has to grip our hearts. right? This is what's been helping me. If she come to me, let's say this weekend, this Christmas, and we chill in, and she said, "Hey, we need to talk," and she starts weeping, and she says, "Hey, in 2016, blah blah blah, this happened, blah blah blah, whatever, right?" Yes, it's gonna suck and gonna hurt, whether it's a fidelity, whether it's whatever it is. The hope is the gospel to say, like, hey, look, I'm broken, I'm a sinner. This is why grace-filled marriage is so banging. The same grace that God has forgiven me when I sinned against her, I have to be willing to look her in the eyes and say, look, yes, it sucks that you did this with so and so, whatever. I forgive you because you know why? God has forgiven me back in, boom, boom, boom. That's how marriage works, is when you have forgiveness, confession, and true repentance. That's how a marriage will work. When you don't have confession, true repentance, and true forgiveness, it won't work, because you just keep on hiding, being self-righteous. And that's what I've learned. And this is why my marriage is not working, is because you have one person, and I'm not trying to say I'm better, but it's just real. I'm saying, hey, look, I want to put on the table. I told you about my past. Let's do this. Let's move forward. And you have one person who don't want to open up. They want to do, it won't work. And then this is how you know it won't work, because the more I want to be connected to a local church, like, I never abandon God's people. I'm in community, have my kids in church. Bro, this days I'm solo at church by myself, crying, depressed, with no wife, no kids, still fighting, bro. I could have said, man, F Christianity, man. My wife left me, but I'm fighting, still trying to fight for my marriage, still got my wedding ring on, still in counseling with my pastor, and like just fighting for it. But when you have somebody who doesn't want to be open, and you see, like, man, this man is ready for me to be open, she ran. Like, it was either fight or flight. Let's fight, good fight, or she ran. She said she came to me 2-3 weeks ago. I'm getting me an apartment. And you know what? Now that I think about it, the more I wanted to be more loving, more transparent, more gospel centered. Let's get more in devotions and reading the word. It's like she ran from that, bro.
Yeah, of course she did. Of course she ran from that. She wasn't. You're there, and that's good, and it will show itself in many ways. Especially like you said, that one, she might have to lay some more stuff down on you, and you'll know, because it'll be in your reaction. If you take it, because you understand that, first of all, though this woman shares a life with you, she does not solely belong to you. And any information that she shares with you is simply her and decisions that she's made in her life. How you handle those situations shows her what type of leader you already are. Not the man you go to church and pray to be. This is the man you are. Sometimes the change happens in a conversation. It happens overnight. It happens over coffee. It comes. And don't ever give up on yourself, which it sounds like, you're very confident in where you are. But there's going to come a time where it will be tested. There will be, and nobody knows you and your buttons better than your wife. If she wants to have that deep conversation with you, it will come, and it will come when you're not expecting it. It will always happen when you're not expecting it. And so now, like the chat is saying, like I'll say to you too, is just fall back on wanting her to be a little bit more forward with you, or presenting to her that you are doing something. We can see that. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're good. Psalms 23, I shall not want. You don't need her validation for that. It's already happening.
But if I can be honest, bro, I mean, bro, I'm gonna just be super transparent, bro. Like, that mug gets hard, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even sexually, intimately.
Yeah.
My wife ain't been home in 2 months, bro. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, and not just sexual intimacy, just emotional intimacy. You know what I'm saying? Then you go into church, you see other brothers boot up with their wives. And then I'm gonna be 100, like, bro, I'm pretty well known in my city. You know what I'm saying? I do gospel rap. You know what I'm saying? I wrote a book and stuff like that. So it's like, and then the shame, and then that's why I don't find my validation in my marriage. I don't find my validation but there is times where it's like, man, like, that guilt and that shame. But my pastor told me this. He was like, bro, all you can do is make sure you're walking in obedience. That's it.
Yep.
If you're not living in sin,
Mhm.
if you're being faithful to your wife, you're still keeping the covenant, and you keep on doing, you say, yo, you good. Now you're gonna feel those emotions, but emotions is not truth. You keep being obedient, seek the Lord, stay in community, stay in His Word. You good, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a confirmation with the chat is saying. That's so true. Like, bro, I have to get my eyes off of my spouse. At the end of the day, I was just talking to my grandma about this, and like, man, like, just seeing how much God has used this. Like, bro, I know this sounds crazy, but in God's sovereignty, we needed this, bro.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
this
Absolutely.
crazy.
Yeah.
I told somebody that the other day. They was like,
Mhm.
"What you did?" I said, "Bro, like, I'm learning so much about God's unconditional love, bro, and not just for myself, how much God loves me, but how much God is teaching me how to love Keisha in the midst of her neglecting me." And God says, "You see how she neglects you? Guess what? You do that to me all the time." There's times when I say I want you to get in the word and you don't want to get in the word. Or there's sometimes when I want you to go share the gospel with somebody on the block. You don't want to. You're selfish. You're this. You're self-righteous. And so just like I still love you in your struggles, right? You love your wife and hers, bro. Man, it's like just learning so much,
Yeah.
bro, about that's what commitment and love, unconditional love looks like in a marriage. Is loving your spouse like Christ really loves you, man. And so, man, like, and making sure I'm watching my tongue, you know what I'm saying, when she calls. And, it's a lot of emotions, man. Even just be transparent. There's times I want to pick up the phone and text her and talk to her. It's like, should I text her back? Should I do this? It's like weird, man. Like, I never experienced this. I'm doing this with my spouse, bro. Like, we did this when we was kids.
Mhm. And so
But
that's why I said again, thank you for being on this podcast and this panel, because I think it's important. I find it important. I can ask the women. It's important for them to hear from the men, because, like I said, ladies, in the four corners of the world, men are shamed for having these type of conversations. Being a husband is idiotic. Being a husband is a waste of your time. You are a loser. You're losing. That is literally the message. If you go on your Instagram or social media, if you talk to people in the streets, you see your homeboys, your homegirls, whatever the case may be, everywhere we look, you're a fool. You're a fool for thinking that you can live a full, loving, in a gape life with your spouse and with God at the helm. Like like I said again, it's like a bizarro world. What is going on here? When I was young, that was the goal. I had to hear women for years talking about they wish their husbands were this and they wish their husbands were that while they worked hard and stuff like this. And I remember my mother and grandmother telling me, don't you end up like X, Y, and Z. Don't you do it like them, because they're causing so much grief. It's so much. And then that's, well, I'm here now, and so my wife ran into a brother that, yes, was raised by the women in the family. My father and brothers were around, but I was raised by the women for the most part in the family. And I got to hear from the women's side. But all my life, by the time I got old enough to understand what it was like for the men, it was just like, I couldn't believe what was happening. I'm like, oh my God, like I couldn't believe what men had to put up with. And the fact that we're dealing with it in the dark, we're dealing with it in our own rooms, we're dealing with it behind closed doors. We have all these friends and all these people who know us, and not a single person is going to pick up the phone and say, hey man, you good? Like I can't, because when you see your wife, like you said, you want to pick up the phone, you want to text her, you want to call her, it's all in there. It's in there.
And that's right to do that, bro. This is not like my girlfriend or my fiance, bro. Like, this is the spouse that I'm in covenant with, bro. Like, it's right for me to do that. But yet, you don't want to feel like, you don't want to feel rejection, you don't feel this. But man, the one thing I can say, man, by the grace of God, like, we're not beefing. You know what I'm saying? For those who listen, like, that's one thing. I don't know. There's some who are beefing with their spouses. Like, by the grace of God, we've been handling the kids well. Like, we're not yelling at one another. There's no, slamming phones down. You know what I'm saying? Like, by the grace of God, like, especially, I think one of the things that helped with that was her surgery. And like I even told somebody, like, man, right now, the relationship in a sense of, talking about it is kind of off hold. My main concern is getting her back to recovery, man. Like, I don't want to keep every day. It's like, yo, what about us? What about us?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Now you got to
like,
stop
no,
that all together. You got to drop.
yeah. Like, we ain't covenant. It's not like we boyfriend
Yeah.
and girlfriend. Like, we together regardless.
Yeah.
Like, we're married still. So it's like, I'm just just serving her, loving her, helping her, even though, bro, like, this things that hurts, man. Like, I don't even know where she stays at, bro. To be 100, this is like super raw transparency, bro. Like, she didn't even let me know where the apartment's at, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, she's using her mama to be like the mediator. You know what I'm saying? And so, and those are the issues. And then Satan could use that to be like, maybe she got somebody else. Those thoughts, bro.
Yeah.
But back even just 7, 8 years ago, the old Elias, but I would have pulled up, bro. Like, I would have been like, yo, I would have been like, and it's right to. I think even God has a jealousy for his bride, his church. I think it's a godly jealousy that a man can have for his spouse, bro. Like, there's nothing wrong for me. Like, yo, what's going on? Like, is there a man in the picture? Like, but man, by the grace of God, man, this is one thing is that at the end of the day, this is what I learned. This is how I know the Holy Spirit has matured me. All that stuff, sneaking, trying to find out what's going on, it can't change nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't change her heart. Okay, so I go up there, just say if I find where she does live, and if I do, God forbid it's over there, then what? What am I gonna do? Fight the dude and go to jail? Like, we don't think about these things, bro. Like, at the end of the day, I gotta entrust her to the Lord and stay calm and stay with my eyes to the cross, bro. Because at the end of the day, this is what God been helping me. Only the Holy Spirit can change her heart.
Mm-hmm.
I can't change her heart. She can't change her heart. Even if she says I'm coming home tomorrow, that'll be cool. But this is what I've been praying for. I pray that she comes back I pray that she comes back saved. I don't just want another same woman marriage. I want salvation. Like, I'm praying a big prayer. Like, God, I want us to be a ferocious, godly marriage for your glory. Like, because if that doesn't work, like, her world. This is the thing. When you marry to an unbeliever, bro, you have two worldviews. You have a biblical worldview, how you see marriage, how you see sex, how you see parenting. You see it through the lenses of Scripture. A secular worldview sees it through the eyes of social media, BT. So no matter what, if you come back together, and that's what started to happen. She wasn't liking my parenting. She wasn't liking this. She wasn't like my 17-year-old daughter. Like, I didn't really agree with her being on Instagram. And she was like, she would see things from the world's perspective. And we was constantly butting heads all the time. I'm like, babe, like, yes, like, I can't. Because he was like, she's gonna eventually, get on there anyway. And I was, just a bunch of that. And I was just like, yes, but we are called as her father to guard her heart. Like, yes, ultimately she could sneak and do her thing, but as a 17-year-old daughter, she's still under our roof.
Exactly.
I think it's my job as a leader and to a father to guard her heart. You know how much pornographic imagery is on Instagram? And so she would be like, you're just being too extreme and this and this and that. You was a kid. You remember when we was kids? And I said, yeah, but me and you didn't. We didn't have godly parents. You know what I'm saying? We didn't grow up with fathers. And I said, ain't we supposed to be doing it better than our parents? And so a lot of that stuff, we were like, boom, boom, boom. So I think that's one of the reason, like, she just copped out. She was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just leave. And so I pray, but this is the thing, like, I don't know, but your spouse, like, my wife professes to be a believer. And I challenged her in love through Scripture. I walked her through some First John passages, and I showed her what a Christian looks like through First John and stuff like that. And of course, she said she disagreed. It was her opinion. I said, baby, this is not my opinion. Like, this is what the text says. He who says he knows him and yet continues to live and walk in darkness is a lie. Like, you read First John, bro, it's right there. And then, I said, and this is another thing that if you have a spouse who's going back to the world and they still claim they're a believer, this is some wisdom, hopefully, that can help us out. Instead of saying, you're not reading, you're not doing this, you're not doing it, I started off doing that. I'm going to be honest. But now what I do is get ask the why questions and get to the appetite. So what I started to do is ask my wife, is like, babe, why do you desire to be around ungodly people? Her best friend is of the world. Her best friend is she's booed up, has a boyfriend in Atlanta. They fornicate. It's like, why do you desire to be doing this? Ask those questions. Not, I ain't seen you reading. Why do you not desire to get in your word? Ask the why. Get to the appetite of the heart. And what that's going to do is, hopefully, now that we're separated, she has time to herself to think, man, I'm not a Christian. I don't desire the Bible. I don't desire biblical community. I don't. And so when you ask those appetite questions, why? And I'll even say this, take a sheet of paper and write down godly ambitions and worldly ambitions and see. And I'm not teaching the word salvation, but what I'm saying is what rocks you more? Is it God's glory, biblical marriage, raising godly children, sharing the gospel in marriage, or is it the world? And you'll find out when you really look at that and examine your life according to scripture, you'll be like, man, like I don't have a godly appetite. And that's how I challenged my wife. And I said, babe, and she got mad at me. I said, babe, I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings, but I don't think you're a Christian according to the scriptures, not according to my opinion, not according to pastor, but what does the scriptures say about what is a true believer? And I said, I'm not preaching perfection. I'm preaching a lifestyle. The Bible talks about you have a lifestyle of, that. So, okay. He said, I remember this last moment trying to convince her. Yeah, man. I can't convince her. Like the Holy Spirit says, it says in Romans 8, that his spirit bears witness with our spirit that we're children of God. I can't convince my wife she's not a Christian. Like I gave her those nuggets to think about, and that's it, bro. Like I pray that the Holy Spirit uses that to show her, man, like what is my appetite? You know what I'm saying? Do I have a spiritual appetite or do I have a hunger for the world?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man. So
it sounds like you definitely got a lot on your mind. I mean, my goodness, that's what I'm talking about. Like these are all good things. All good
yeah.
You talk yourself, and that's the thing. It's not about we're trying to figure out who's right, who's wrong.
Yeah.
This is literally like akin to talk therapy. It's about talking and getting through these thoughts because, like I said, to have them pent up, it doesn't do anything. It won't help in the long run because there's things that you want to get out. Even when we hear our own voices, when we hear where we are, imagine if you take this and a few months from now, say she wants to talk about some things, you can even reference where were you during that time and how do you trace back to, okay, have my opinions, have those things changed? Have I reiterated them? Have I nailed them down even better? Or have I taken what I've externally expressed and kept it internal and refined myself as a man? And when you do that, that means she doesn't have to carry that. That's a different type of load that some men would say we're built for shoulders and not for hips. You carry yes, this is a different type of weight. Sometimes the discipline, sometimes the stress, the disarray, the chaos that is in our life fits better on shoulders than it does hips.
Wow.
And you take your time. That's all. You just take your time and you realize who you are and what you are to that woman. And she knows that for her and her life and for her life with her children and the life that the peace that she's looking for, she can rely on her man carrying that load. And she knows that if he's willing to do that, if he can do that, I can follow him. I can follow his direction. No, I don't need to contend with him. Life is easier and better for me when the man that I'm with is literally built for that load. And he's more than willing to carry that load. And it's good for me and mine to follow this man.
But that's good, bro. I'll even add to you, but what's even dope too with that is that yes, the husband's the leader, provider, protector, but also discipling our wives, or as we talk about husband and wives, is that, man, that's where grace is so important, bro, because even when I fail, you should show me grace And also, I'm going to fail you. That's why your ultimate husband is Jesus. Like if I used to tell my wife this. I used to tell her this. I said, babe, I can't ultimately give you what you're looking for. Like, I think a lot of, and that goes back to my boy BJ's statement is like, I think a lot of times in marriage, bro, without even recognizing it, we have put the Superman cape on our spouse, and we thinking they can fulfill us. They can be that supernatural fulfilling that only God can do. Like, especially, just think about this. Yes, should we be there for our spouses emotionally? Of course. But ultimately, you think about it, if you grow up in a broken home, and not even if you didn't grow up in just anybody, you were all broken for the sin. If you're dealing with addiction or brokenness, Christ is the only one that can ultimately heal that. And so a lot of times you take your anger out on your spouse or you're frustrated with the stuff you're dealing with. When you need to be telling your spouse in love, and I've been telling my wife, I said, babe, you need to go to the cross. Like if you're dealing with daddy, if any women out here listen tonight, if you're dealing with daddy issues, your husband can't help you. He can talk to you, but ultimately your anger that you're dealing with, your frustration that your daddy wasn't there, ultimately Jesus can heal that, not your husband. If you were sexually abused, if you were verbally abused, yes, your husband could be there to support you, but ultimately only Jesus can heal those wounds. And then if you have sin, because anger is a sin, you need to go to the cross and ask for forgiveness of how you hated your father or whatever the case. I can't forgive you of your sin. Your spouse can't forgive you and help you with that anger. And so I think a lot of times we look to our spouses to like, fix me. Like, I'm dealing with all this anger and I've been molested. I've been my daddy to head. And we take it out. It's like, hold on, let's talk about it. And this is what's so dope about two believers being married. That's why I think that was always God's intent. Two Christians getting married. It's because now you have two broken sinners who know their depravity, both holding hands, not looking to each other, but running to the cross. Jesus is the ultimate superhero, not us. I'm broken myself. I'm still dealing with issues, like even to this day. And Keisha can't fix me. You know what I'm saying? Now it's more issues, man. Now I had to fight just the other day, be transparent. It's like, man, and think about, just all this. Was it my sex? Was it this? But then those like, man, we've been married 18 years. Obviously, you like the sex. Like, all these crazy thoughts, man. Was I good enough? All these thoughts. And the only person that can help me with that is the word of God. It's taken to the scriptures, man. The scriptures is my anchor, because all those lies that come to your head, we have to shoot it down with truth, man. And if we don't, and this is another thing we have to be careful. And that's why I've been staying off of social media for 2 months, and Facebook and IG and stuff like that. Because in those moments of those lies or those thoughts, man, a lot of spouses, whether you are the one who left or the one who's been left on, you will run to addictions. It's easy to turn to drunkenness right now in my pain. It's easy to say, man, let me go back to, I haven't smoked weed in years. It's easy to do that, but by the grace of God, he's been keeping me. It's easy to say, let me watch porn. It's easy. And so in these moments, man, as we speaking to man too, man, work on yourself, man. Get in those scriptures. And another thing, do not attach yourself from the local church. I wrote this in my book. I said, man, an isolated Christian is a devil's lunch meat. Whenever you isolate yourself, the devil got a playing field for you, bro. Like, do not. I know there's times where you don't. There's days, man, I'll get up. Even when Keisha was still living here, she didn't want to go to church. The kids didn't. They didn't. Them, because my kids ain't saved. They see mama don't want to go to church. Like, well, my kids would even say, well, daddy and mama. Their flesh like, mama don't want to go to church. And so now I look like the enemy in the house. I'm the only one that's trying to fight to go to church. And even sometimes my flesh is like, man, what's the point, man? Nobody want to go. I have to fight those urges and say, no, get up and go to church, man. There be days, man, I'd be depressed in church, bro, just weeping, worshiping God. Like, man, God's still in this mess, bro. Even in the midst of that, I'm going to tell those who watch this, God is still in it, bro. God is in this. You may not feel like God is with you. You may not feel like it. God is working, man. He working.
Yeah.
So.
And so I want to thank you, brother Elias, man. I mean, you dropped that wisdom, that knowledge, that foresight, and that insight that
You too, brother.
that it's just not being, it's just really not being heard. It's not being solicited like in any way. It's just not being heard. But now it is. We have to keep those things going, because I definitely can't wait for ladies' night to hear, because these women are here. They heard where the men are. They know that they are a thing. They know that there are men who follow the word of God, and they know that there are men fighting for their relationships and understand their place in the relationship. So this is going to be real good, brother. I didn't see any other questions. I don't know if anybody had a question for you. Let me look. Everybody got their talk on. A couple people dropped off. It's okay.
It's cool,
Marie,
man.
thank you for being here, Marie, and Desiree left as well. Thank you as well, Desiree, for dropping in. Thank you, Marie, and see you guys in a few days, because I'm definitely gonna have the ladies come up where the guys can ask questions regarding what's it like on our side, or for the women as well, because maybe there's some things that these are marriage-minded women, man, and for a lot of women, they're told to keep it moving, keep it pushing. That dude ain't doing what you need to keep it moving. But these women are staying, and they're saying, no, my husband, he's not here now, but he'll be back. And if not, then God is going to help me keep pushing forward during this time. And so these women have their own testimony. So I like it again. So, brother Elias, I don't see any other questions. All right, well, I'll drop you down for the night. Plus, too, I'm coming up on the time limit, I guess, for StreamYard. I am so gonna catch it when I wake up in the morning. I'm gonna catch
that man hit the Guinness Book of World Records on YouTube, bro.
I can't believe it. Well, I think, what was it? No, there's people that stream 24 hours. There's some people that stream 8 hours, like 11 hours, 12 hours. It's insane. But yes, we'd be here.
So what was the thing? What was the thing like at like, so you said your wife left you, like what was, if you don't mind, like, what was it like? Was it infidelity, or just like butting heads, or?
The first time, it was more so infidelities. Ultimately she was hurt and wanted to hurt me. So, I mean, that's basically what it came down to. She was hurt by my actions, and she wanted to hurt me. And it was like, okay. And the second time that she announced that she wanted to get a divorce from me, we were still dealing with the echoes of the first announcement. Like we hadn't gone to counseling. Our pastor he passed away, and we just never went back to church to talk to anyone else. Her sister had passed away. We were in college. We just never got back to us. We never got back. We were just like, orbiting and trying to maintain, and it just wasn't there, man. We weren't having the real conversations. And then, like I said, around the second time she announced divorce, like what you said, the ugly came out, and it was time for her to get raw with how she's always felt. And I kind of always knew like that day was coming.
And which is a great thing, bro.
Yeah, it is. And she, she said some things like, my wife ain't never spoke to me like that before. But then I listened to what she said, and I think she was expecting a different type of reaction, and I didn't give that. I was just like, I heard it. Now what? You know what I'm saying? Like, now what?
So did you guys end up getting a divorce?
No, we didn't. Nope. We
I know people who got divorced and got remarried, bro. God still worked.
Yeah. People got divorced and get back together. I've seen people who, I've seen some mess. People have gotten married, had children, moved on. found each other 20 years later. And it's like, wait, what? You know, and got remarried. Brother David says, Brother Elias, which state are you in?
In Georgia.
There you go.
Georgia, man. Yeah, Georgia. Where you at, bro?
I believe he's in Wisconsin.
I'm talking about where you at?
Oh, I'm in Rochester, New York.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm originally from Brooklyn, but I moved down south when I was a young kid.
Yeah, one of the ladies that called in said they have a cousin in Rochester, New York, and I'm so sorry for your cousin because
it's snowing out there.
Well, it did snow. You know, we got hit, but it's just so boring here. It's just not. It's not really not. I don't want to say boring. It's just not as far as being a family, you know, or business owner. New York is just not the place. It's just. I mean, if you hustling, that's great. If you have many hustles, you're fine. You'll make it. But if you're here and you're trying to raise a family, you're looking for an education and a better marketplace and opportunities, New York is really tough for that. But whatever, we deal with it. If it was so bad, we'd have moved by now. If it was so bad. But
I gotta get your book too, bro.
Oh, don't worry, you ain't missing nothing. Please don't.
No, I get it, man.
Please don't. I'm gonna write another one. I actually already started, but that one's gonna have a whole lot more information. The first time I wrote that, it was more like a journal. It was more like a journal. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I was really proud of myself because I had shut up to people altogether and just started writing, and I was done in like a month and a half. And
wow.
It had a lot of good words, but when you don't know who you're talking to, anybody could read it. But okay, that's a good book, and then they move on. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there was no real direction, and I really didn't know what a standard was until about 2 years after. 2 years after I wrote the book. I mean, it was just like, oh, wait a minute, wait, they call them standards? Like, this is what this is? Like, and you find groups, and there's whole, I started with that Better Together movement and with Armando and Sheila, and they don't do it anymore. But they had a really big following, like really fast. And I think it has something to do with Sheila looking the way that she looked. I think a lot of people just kind of like resonated to her or whatever like that. You go to Armando, you're like, you're a fool. What are you doing? Like, you left this woman. Like, are you crazy? But yeah, I mean, it just shows that conviction to spouses and knowing that they're not living correctly and they're living in sin. No matter how beautiful and wonderful his wife may be, that dude hauled boogie because he just would not. That type of talk just ran him to the mountains. He just ran away, and that's all he was running from. And it wasn't until Sheila stopped calling him, stopped texting him, she stopped trying to contact her husband, and he was literally out and about with his girlfriend. And as he was walking through like a market with her. And he said right then and there, he just felt disgusted. Like he had a disgusting feeling in his stomach holding that woman's arms. And he just let her go. And she didn't even say nothing. She knew what that meant. She was just like, I'll just find another way home. And that dude,
bro, I don't even know who you're talking about.
I know, right? They not around anymore. That's what I'm saying. Like it was really quick. Like they was there for like a year, and now they don't have the channel.
What are like YouTubers or something?
Yeah, they were like YouTubers, and they're gone because they gotten through this part. Like this woman stopped. She prayed for her husband, stopped all the pushing, stopped all the trying, and she just pulled back. And her husband, after I think it was 3 months or something like that, she just left him alone. That dude hauled behind. He hauled Boogie back home, and his wife, she was ready for him, and she just couldn't.
That's beautiful, man.
Believe it, right? And so he was like, "Honey," because I remember you asking this about, when do we start talking about these type of things online and through books and podcasts without hurting our spouse and stuff like that. Like you just do. You just started. Armando wanted to start it. Me, I just started because I didn't want to talk about her. I wanted to talk about what happened to me and what was happening with me. And Loria she said what happened to them. I used to follow them. Yeah, they work for they're production managers for a church now where they live. They don't do the podcast. They don't do the website anymore because they didn't want to keep highlighting a certain part of their marriage. They were like, this happened. It was crazy. It was very hard, but they did the work. They got through it. They redid their vows, and now they want to move on. And they decided to do that as a couple, and they moved on. They had I think in less than a year, they had like 78,000 subscribers or something like that. It was insane. Like the dude said they made more money in a month than they've made together, like for a whole year. They made more money in a month.
Wow.
They said the Holy Spirit spoke to them. Sheila said the Holy Spirit spoke to her, and he said, that's enough. That's enough. And coveting all this money from this story is cursing you. And that's what she heard. So she went to her husband and she said, I can't do this anymore. Armando said, if Sheila said that she heard God say that that's enough, that's enough. And they left. They left what could have been the height of their YouTube career, and they left. And I said, follow what God is saying. Follow him. And now they work for a church, and they're production managers, and they're so happy doing things that way. Armando has a great job. He's there for his wife and his kids. You know, they get to travel the world. Like it's all kinds of stuff they get to do. And like I said, never give up on your spouse. I don't care if you think they're with somebody else. Pray for them. Pray for them. Pray for them. Don't. Yeah, Armando was something else. Yeah, he was a hot mess. Armando was a mess, and he was addicted to porn and all that stuff too. He was a hot mess, and I don't see how. I'm like, how you're looking at your wife and like you're addicted to porn, but you know what? When you're not satisfied with your life, it don't matter who you with. You're not satisfied. So, but he found out that whatever he was looking for, it was not in these streets. It wasn't in the streets. He wasn't gonna find it that way. And so, you know, they were supposed to make a documentary. They walked away from all of it. They walked away from all of. They had money. They had thousands and thousands of dollars staring them in the face. And they walked away from all of it. And I'm like, listen, that ain't nothing but God, because you know there are times where I feel like, okay, I said what I needed to say. It's time to move on. You know, like I felt like I've gotten, you know, I thought that when I had 1,000 subscribers, because I literally put this on my vision board, like, oh, 1,000 subscribers, I would have made it. It'd have been worth it and stuff like that. Not really. Not really. Once we got there, it was like, okay, like.
So how does your wife feel about you now doing the minute? Like, I know you focus a lot about relationship, marriage, and like, how does she feel about it now?
Well, as far as the content goes, she doesn't have a problem with it. She's been on the podcast.
Okay.
She she's always told me, you know, you should ask from both sides, from men and women. You know, but present it to the men so that these men would know what's going on as far as, you know, like the Black and brown community, what it's like for a man growing into himself to finally reach the potential that the people that are close to him and that love him, for him to reach that point, not just be bred with potential, but to actually realize it. And excuse me, and to do it in a way that is unique to him, taking the skills that he has. And she felt good as far as the podcast go, but she didn't start trusting me and felt secure with me until what I was telling you guys, I was actually living. Like, it wasn't when I've been telling you guys, when I started actually living that thing, then she was just like, oh, you know, like he's strong, he's assertive, he's intelligent, he's secure. You know, I used to be like all over the place, dude. I used to eat like crazy because I had so much anxiety. I remember, like, I put a story you guys probably don't know, but I broke my legs. I broke both my legs last year. Playing basketball. Yeah, I broke both my legs playing basketball. But I was, and we had just gotten to a fight, but I wanted to go work out because I noticed I gained so much weight. I was so angry with myself. I was angry with her. I didn't like the life I was living. I went out to go hoop for like 20 minutes, and it's 20 minutes left. 20 minutes into the game, I catch the ball, I land on the court, and both my knees snap. Like, I jump up to catch a pass, a long inbound pass. I catch the ball with both hands, and when I land, both knees pop. I felt like somebody hit me with a crowbar to both knees. And I'm looking down, and my knees are like in my thighs. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm looking down, and I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe. I didn't even want to look at my knees no more. It was so bad. But anyway, a year later, and a good doctor, I'm up and I'm walking around.
Praise God.
God does things. He removes what you want to use as a distraction so that he can get your attention. So now he has my attention, and I sit here and I'm like, okay, I need to focus on my health. I need to focus on my relationship with my wife, because my wife was at the time in the middle of her finals for her master's degree. And here she is in the hospital with her husband with 2 broken legs and 3 girls to take care of as she's writing her papers in the hospital. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at some point you got to be like, she may not be following me or doing what I say or whatever that bullshit that they kick around. My language is late at night. But anyway, like, look what she's doing. Like everybody says, it's not her words. Look at the actions. And she's right there. So, oh, shoot. Okay, so I got to get ready to go. Yo, I got 6 minutes left on this. I didn't want it to cut us off because we was having a good time.
It's cool.
Oh, my God. My kids are going to kill me. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. All right.
Yo, send me your inbox message on IG, man. Send me, if you cool, send me your number, bro. I'd love to connect with you.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. That's no problem. All
Definitely, man. You are super encouraging, man. Super encouraged by you.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all. I mean, I appreciate everybody who came through, man. I can't believe we stayed on here this long.
That dude David, too. That dude David, he got a contact info, too?
Yeah, David, I don't know if you're still in here, but if you want to post your IG, he's over on IG, too. You just type in David Bowen.
Okay.
Dear Lord, I said that man's full government.
That's cool.
Anyway, if you happen to rob a bank, do not call Tyree. I'm a name dropper. I'm bad for business. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Y'all have a good night. All right, Elias. Thank you, bro.
Love you, bro. Appreciate it. Grace and peace.
Wow. Y'all forgive me for this long stream. Lord, let me forgive myself for this long stream, because when I know I go to sleep and I have to wake up at 7 in the morning, I'm not going to be me. I'm going to be a version of me. Oh, at Bowen for Action. So there you go. Michael Johnson was here. Thank y'all so much. I'm glad we was here for you, Mike. Lori, I'm glad we were here for you. Did your wife treat you better when you got hurt? Did she treat me better? I don't know. Did she treat me better? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We have to talk about like what we mean by better. Like, she helped me. Well, yeah, she treat me better because normally I'd shower myself, and with 2 broken legs, I had to be showered. So yes, she did treat me better. I had to be showered, and she was there for it. If she was standing right here, she would look at me very wifely like until I answered the question by saying yes. So anyway, that is it for tonight, you guys. That went down a lot better than I thought. Seriously, especially with the slow start. And every time we say goodnight, I cry a little. Anyway, thank y'all for being here. Please make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, the share, talk to each other, share information, because that is what this is for. You guys have a good night. This is Loc'd Pop Talks. We're gone.